Hello and welcome to AnimEH, the Canadian-flavored anime podcast. My name is Justin Ashley, and joining me, as always, is my delightful co-host, Johnny Liscombe.
How's it going?
It is going pretty well, Johnny. We survived the winter. It feels like we haven't filmed in forever.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, because we made a decision. I wanted to mention this. Before we decided, okay, we're going to do the 4 seasons of anime. We're going to do the spring, the summer, the fall, and the winter. But then we were like, well, then that's only 4 podcasts a year. You know, it doesn't give us, it seems like that's such a break in between. We should come up with a few topic / subject specific podcasts. And then we started doing that. And then we decided to stop doing that. We've now made the decision that, no, 4 podcasts a year is pretty good. We have a lot of shit going on.
Yeah.
And part of this was me, because it now fucking Slash Cinema just takes so much effort to edit those goddamn episodes. So yes, we will only be doing 4 podcasts a year now. So they're going to be more spaced out. I don't know. Maybe we'll come up with the odd special episode, but
yeah, one-offs, yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe. We'll see. I don't know.
I won't lie to you. I've been enjoying the break. I watched a stupid amount of anime.
Yeah, I think you're going to end up with way more on your list than I got on mine. I don't have a lot. So to recap, we are discussing this is now the first week of April. We are discussing the winter 2023/2024 season of anime. So this is winter, I'll just say 2024, whatever the fuck. Winter 2024, winter block of anime programming. So again, this is not a preview podcast. We are not talking about what is coming out. No one gives a fuck about that. If you want to know what's coming out, there's 10 million jackasses on YouTube that will give you that information and have trailers and all kinds of fancy editing. This is low-tech, simple, hangout, just 2 fucking anime fans talking about shit they watched from the previous season. So this is shit we've already seen now,
Shit that you maybe haven't gotten to yet, and maybe you should avoid.
And maybe you don't even know about.
Yeah.
And know that you should avoid it. Most of my picks. I just a comment on this for a sec. So usually I think I have almost as many picks as you do, if not maybe 1 or 2 more.
Typically.
We watch about the same amount. Fuck, I struggled, dude. This season sucked shit.
Yeah.
I'm saying that right now. I was having so much difficulty finding something now, between the two of us, I'm definitely the snob, for sure.
Oh, that's a fair point.
Yeah. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but what normally takes, I find, compared to the average anime viewer, I am way more picky. So it is much more difficult for me to find things that actually pique my interest. But this season, this past season in particular, holy fuck, there was not much I wanted to watch, man. I don't know. Did you?
Honestly, I read single sentence descriptions of most anime, and I'm just that's going on the list.
Yeah, you definitely are more
I am not fussy.
No, you're more the risk taker too, where you're you know what it is? It's the age gap between us. So in case you can't tell, the young man on the podcast desk here is this guy sitting across from me.
The younger and better looking one on the podcast.
Correct, right. Yeah, because you could probably tell from all the grays coming in 4K on my fucking head here. I am the older of the two of us. Not by a ton. I'm 5 years older than you. But you, because of your youth, your time is not as, I don't think you treat it as valuable as I do. I am so much more closer to the grave. Every second, is precious to me.
You got to make them count.
Yeah, you, on the other hand, you just give that shit away. You're just constantly just oh, okay, yeah. Isekai, some guy wakes up and he's a vending machine. Oh, here you go. Here's 10 hours. Oh, he wakes up and some chick dies and now she wakes up in the body of a frog. Oh, okay, here's 5 hours for that. Is that a fair description? Or is
I mean, the vending machine one. Just throw back to last spring.
Oh,
Right?
I know. That's why you literally just watched that
Well,
fucking
see,
thing.
I threw that one on thinking it was gonna suck.
You liked it.
I loved it.
Yeah, you got into it.
It was hilarious.
Yeah. Where I lost my train of thought. What the fuck was it? Oh, I had trouble finding shit to watch. So I made a note here. Okay, so when I was looking at because when I'm trying to find stuff, like when I'm making my list of like, okay, these are the shows I'm gonna watch for this block for winter, right? And then now my next block I'm gonna do is gonna be spring, the 2024 spring one. And when I'm making these lists, I just type in like, there's a million websites that have like upcoming anime you need to check out, anime that should be on your radar, top 10 anime preview for spring 2024. You know that shit? Like,
Yeah.
I'm assuming you. Oh no, you kind of do it differently. You don't look up articles.
Well, I don't really need to, because like scrolling through Instagram and whatnot, I get videos all the time like, oh, you should check these out.
Oh, your algorithm is just like.
My algorithm is all anime.
Okay, right. It's like it's conformed around it. That's fucking hilarious. So when I was going through the list, though, I was just like, not interested, not the derivative. This seems boring. I made a note. So for this block, so winter 2024, almost all fantasy based. So many fucking fantasy. What is going on? Anime and fantasy. It's like, this is the genre now. And like, they're not all isekais. A lot of them are.
Well, most of them are.
Yeah, most of them are. But like, dude, have you noticed this? Like, sci-fi is dead at this point.
Yeah.
There's like a handful of sci-fi shows
my
out.
people are appealing to me, is what it is.
Your people.
I tend to lean more fantasy, so.
Yeah, I guess that's true. You do like more fantasy type shit.
Yeah, this was
than I
my
do.
season.
Yeah, you exactly. You're in your fucking heyday here. There was not a ton of shit for me to watch. Another big problem. So many fucking sequel series. It's like I didn't even, so I've got there was not a lot of, if you wasn't fantasy, it was a sequel series.
Yeah.
So if you didn't watch the first season or whatever, you're not going to tune in. So I've got Blue Exorcist came back.
Yay.
Remember that one? I never watched Blue Exorcist. I think I tried to watch it fucking years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, no connection there. Urusei, I can't even say this. Urusei Yatsura? It's like a remake of some really old, I think it's like an old school 80s anime. It's like the chick with blue hair. It's like in a bikini or some shit. I think it's like a harem type anime.
Yeah,
Season 2, though, just came out. Season 2.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited. Classroom of the Elite. Season 3.
I've watched that one.
I watched the first season and I did not like it. Sorry, I didn't get through the first season. I watched like half of the first season. I was like, yeah.
Well,
So I definitely didn't watch season
shocker.
3.
That one appealed to me.
And I'm hoping this isn't on your list. Mashal season 2.
Well, I mean, we could both watch that one, but I didn't.
It's not on your list.
No, it's not.
Okay. I was gonna say otherwise.
Well, I've kind of
taken.
taken an oath that I'm not going to do like season 2s. You know,
That's a good rule of thumb.
just new anime, because like
Yeah, let's just do new IPs.
they don't need new fans. They had enough to get a second season.
I agree. Unless it's something like you really think, like if neither one of us talked about the first season or second, or you know what I mean, like the previous seasons on the podcast, and it's something you think is really special that needs to be brought up, then make an exception. There's always exceptions.
Or if you bash
Otherwise-
season 1 and I watch season 2 and think it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's also valid. That will never happen. To be clear, I don't have a lot to talk about. I've got 5 entries, and for the first time ever, I think you might have 3 of these. Like, I think you're going to have over half of my picks.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot to watch, folks, and I was like forced to watch a couple that I was like, and I think you have a couple of the ones I got.
Well, I have what's on my list here, like all 7 names, but there were others that I either started and didn't have time to take notes on, or a couple that I didn't realize until today that were part of the winter season. So I have no notes on any of them, but
Okay, so yeah, you have even more that you watched, yeah.
I've probably watched like 10, 11.
I mean, like, that's the other thing is like, did I watch some more than what's on this list? Yeah, I did, but I'm like, if I didn't get past 20 minutes, we're trying to bring you ones we have at least something to say about, Some of them I just didn't remember. Like,
Yeah.
there was a couple, I think, that I had the name down, but I didn't jot anything down exactly what you're saying. So that's enough waffling. Without further ado, why don't you take it away? Because you have more picks than me. I am curious what the fuck you were able to come up with that you thought was valuable to watch. So I'm excited to see what you got on that side of the table. So take us away, Johnny.
Well, first of all, I feel like you're lying about that. You're never excited about what I've watched.
I'm hoping somehow, every once in a while, you surprise me. And actually, you know what? I'm going to give you credit. I watched Shangri-La Frontier. Your recommendation from the last time we filmed. I think it was the last time we filmed. It must have been the last time we filmed. Your recommendation, that's the one where the guy who normally plays like broken, bad video games.
Like trash video games.
Video games. He goes into a triple A like god tier video game, and it's like a multiplayer online fantasy video game. And he basically just like falls in love with the game and he's having a good time. There's not really a particular, like goal in a sense. There isn't really, but I checked it out. It's very good. The animation's good. The comedy's good. It's fun. My problem with it is there's just not really a particular sense of direction. You're kind of just watching a guy play a video game in a sense.
A pretty cool video game.
Oh, I'll say this. For the love of Christ, when are we getting there? Like, can we just have fully immersive VR pods that we step into and the fucking cable goes into our, neural cortex and we're now like feeling the sensation of the game and we're in this elaborate world, Like, can we just be there now?
I would like to think that the 1% is hiding it from us.
Like, for fuck's sake, they have it. They've had it since the 90s. Nintendo
let's
had
raid
that shit.
Area 51.
Like, for the love of Christ, I'm how stoked are you?
Oh, I'm so excited.
That's done, right?
I will never leave my house.
That's endgame.
Yeah.
When that comes out, that we're done, right? Like this, like humans are not going outside anymore.
Yeah.
Once this becomes,
we
thing.
won't have time for this anymore.
Oh, why would I? Why would I do this when I could fight like an undead, necromancer boss in a floating graveyard in the sky, or like, I don't know, a dragon made out of fucking diamond shards or some shit. Like, like we're never going back to the way things were once this shit becomes a reality.
And I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, fuck yes,
My antisocial ass is excited.
This is going to happen. There's going to be jobs in the game.
Well, yeah, I'm going to be a blacksmith.
Like, you're going to be able to punch a clock and go into work in a digital world. Fuck yes. I will gladly, my store, Fly By Night Movies, Games, and Toys, located in downtown Oshawa, I will gladly take that and convert it into the digital space, and I will just run that. I would be more than happy to do that. I will have a goblin manning the front fucking desk, I'll have an undead fucking security guard wandering the lonely halls of my store, the aisles. Yeah, sign me up. For the love of Christ. Make this happen, rich people. Enough fucking around. You have the tech. We assume.
No, we know you're hiding.
We know what you actually have. They got that, and they got the fucking COVID vaccine. That's what they're hiding. The real one, the one that actually works. All right, enough fucking around. Johnny, take us away. What's your first pick?
All right, well, I'll start us off with Solo Leveling.
I got it too. Winner, chicken dinner. Obviously, this is the one. This is the one that, like, you go to any fucking anime list right now, any new, like, winter 2024, Solo Leveling. Why aren't you watching Solo Leveling? Fuck is wrong with you? Watch Solo Leveling. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not amazing. It's pretty good. Do you want you want to take away the plot? Go. I want you to do it because I kind of knew you were gonna have this, so I didn't write a bunch of the plot.
I've only been talking about it for like 4 years.
Have at it, John. What is the plot of Solo Leveling?
All right, so modern society takes a turn, very unexpected turn, when magic portals start opening up everywhere across the world.
What's inside the portals, John?
Oh, gee, I wonder. It's like super cool dungeons filled with monsters, crystals, and treasures.
A fantasy dungeon world, literally.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
But not just anybody can go into these dungeons. With the magic portals, some humans were blessed with magic. And these people, known as hunters, can enter the dungeons.
Yeah, I think technically anyone can enter the dungeon, but you're just gonna get
You'll get
killed.
slaughtered. Yeah.
Right, because I think they established in the first episode that modern military weapons had no effect on, because inside the dungeon are dungeon monsters and basically fantasy creatures.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's literally as generic as you can think. It's like elves, goblins,
giant spiders,
orcs, like skeleton warriors.
Yeah.
It's like it's generic it's like Dungeons and Dragons shit. But so like bullets and shit does fuck all of them. They don't really do anything.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing, is like, yeah, they could send the military in, but they're just gonna get wiped out. Right.
Yeah.
So instead, no, it's certain people have magic within them, because at the same time the magic portals show up, magic awakens in some people. I think that's what they call it, right? Awakening?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's literally what they call it. And they can. Sorry, I'm hijacking your plot. Go ahead.
So, certain people are allowed inside the portals. People known as hunters. It's like a whole thing. Like the government runs these portals now. You have to buy a pass to get into this portal.
Yeah, it literally becomes a business.
Yeah,
it becomes a business. Yeah.
But people that awaken their magical abilities typically don't get any stronger. You can kill as many monsters as you want. You do not improve in the slightest. However, there are people that have a second awakening and a sudden burst of strength, so you can go from like E rank to S rank or something.
And that's important to note. They actually have ranking. So the government has a machine that can test your like mana level.
Yeah.
Like, so how strong your strength potential, basically. And it comes up with a a alphabetical grade for you.
Yeah.
There's S rank all the way down to E rank, right?
Yes.
Yes. And E rank's the bottom and S rank's obviously the top. So they can actually check what your thing is, but whatever you're born with, whatever you got, you're an E rank, you're a fucking E rank.
Yeah. No improving.
No improving. You're not getting better. As is our protagonist. He is an E rank.
So Sun Jinwoo,
There he is. Who?
our protagonist,
Right.
the weakest hunter, the lowly E rank.
Yeah, not only is he E rank, he's the worst of the E ranks. So he is literally the weakest hunter in the world.
Doesn't stand a chance breathing in a dungeon.
Yeah.
Has no business being in one.
He can the weakest enemies he can hardly kill. Like he struggles to kill
and even
generic.
still, he needs to be lucky to pull it off.
Yeah, and even then, often like he'll trade blows with them. So it's like I think it opens with like him killing it like an orc, but it also stabs him. So
Yeah,
it's like
he's
he ends up
fatally wounded.
Right, so he ends up needing to get healed anyways. Yeah.
But we start out with our protagonist walking through a dungeon with a party. He's injured, as we've stated. They heal him and reveal that despite beating the boss, this dungeon isn't ready to disappear yet. I guess I didn't touch on that. After you defeat the bosses in a dungeon, the dungeons do tend to disappear after about 30 minutes.
Almost like a video game.
Oh, weird. Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
Weird. It's almost fantasy.
Yeah.
But so they discover that there's more to this dungeon. It's what they call a double dungeon, which is unheard of. Doesn't typically happen. They insist on maybe turning back and taking Sung Jinwoo out of the dungeon because the lowly E rank is just going to be in their way. Very likely going to die. He insists they continue. They explore this dungeon and encounter something worse than a boss.
It's like a god, basically, literally like a god.
It's like a gauntlet of terrifying statues.
Yeah.
Right? So the doors close behind them.
They're now like trapped in this like giant fucking room. Yeah.
And they're surrounded by what appears to be puzzles.
Right.
It's like the 10 commandments of these like
there's like rules. It's
statues.
basically like a puzzle room.
Yeah.
They're trapped in like a puzzle room, and it's like there's on the wall. It's like thy must obey these solemn tenets, and it's like 1, obey God, 2, whatever. So,
like worship the god,
right?
Praise the god,
Right. But it's like cryptic shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's like these gigantic fucking like statue men.
Yeah.
All around this room. And there's like fucking, I don't know, like 30 of them. Yeah. And then one giant one. One that's even taller than them. Like one that's like the Statue of Liberty size.
Yeah.
Like legitimately probably that big.
Oh, easily that big,
like
yeah.
Gigantic.
So, with no hope of possibly escaping this room, Sung Jin-woo starts solving these puzzles. The statues come to life. Or, well, one of them does anyway.
Right.
And starts stomping on these hunters.
Yep. So it's like literally just brutally,
massacring
mercilessly just slaughtering them. Yeah.
All the while, he's slowly solving these puzzles in the hopes of maybe escaping this hell, a literal hell. They get down to, God, what's it, like 5? 5 of them?
There's like a handful left. Yeah.
And they're on what they believe to be the final puzzle.
Right.
And everyone abandons him.
Literally well, except 2 people.
Yeah.
He sends them off. In all fairness to those 2 characters.
To their credit, yeah.
Yeah. Everyone fucks off because they don't want to die. And they see a way out.
Yeah, the door was open while they were on that platform,
right.
And they seized the day.
They seize the moment. And there's like 3 people left, and then Sung Jin-woo, who's like extremely honorable and does a very like brave thing, like courageous act of like heroism. He sends off those 2 people and says, "At least you 2 will live. I'm like fucked. Like I'm not gonna survive." So
it's like I'm already missing
because he was
leg.
mortally wounded at that point, anyways. Yeah. And they leave him, and he's on his dying breath.
And he's massacred by these fucking statues.
Right?
All of them.
Literally.
Not one.
They like all attack him at once. And that's it. The whole show's done. It's a 1 episode.
Game over.
That was it.
There will never be any more.
There's no more solo leveling. That was it. That's what happens if you actually were that guy. Yeah.
But then a message appears on this black screen. And I can't quite remember what it says. It said something along the lines of like, you have been chosen by the system. If you do not accept within like 30 seconds,
it's like your
heart
heart's
will
about
stop.
Yeah, your heart's about to stop. It's like select yes or no within like 2 seconds. It's like 2 seconds or something nonsense. Yeah. Literally, it's like a message.
Yeah, like a video
like
game
a video game
menu
screen,
message,
like a menu screen, like almost like a window from a computer. Actually, is what it's more like. Just appears in the darkness.
It's like, do you accept?
Right.
Yes or no? But of course he does.
Yes.
Which leads us to a very strange hunter, doesn't it?
So Sung Jin-woo wakes up in the hospital, somehow magically surviving this ordeal, even though he basically died.
And not only surviving, his limbs are back.
Yes, because he gets like his leg cut off, and does he also get his arm?
I think his arm.
Yeah,
is
like
gone
he's
too.
fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then now he's like healed, basically. Like he's fucked up, but not really fucked up, and he's like recovering in the hospital.
Just like actually fine, but you know he should be wounded, so they just assume he is.
And then now he has these window screens in front of him in real life that he can bring up at will that nobody else can see.
Yes.
Right. Do you have more to add on the plot? Like,
no, that's pretty well it. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, so this guy goes into a dungeon, gets killed, then wakes up, and now he's in a video game.
Yeah. Well, actually, I guess there is one more important part of that.
Yeah.
He now has the ability to level up. Thus, the name Solo Leveling.
Yes. So he, unlike, because that's the big thing in the world, is whatever grade you are, that's what you are. You ain't getting any better. But Sung Jin-woo now has this insane ability to actually progress and get stronger.
Yeah.
Which is not possible for any other hunter in the world. So he can effectively reach heights of strength and speed and everything that nobody on Earth could even fathom.
Quite literally.
Like he essentially has no limit, because he can just keep like leveling up and getting stronger. But what's so weird is like he now has like stats and things.
Yeah.
Like he basically he wakes up back in our world or their world, the fantasy world, but he's now a video game character. Nobody else knows this. They just see him as like this guy, but he can see windows. He can bring up an inventory screen. He is a video game character.
Literally.
He reboots as a video game character. He reincarnates as a video game character.
Well, not to mention the store that he can access as well.
Yeah, there's like right. He can access like an
item
item shop
in his
yeah,
inventory.
And not only that, he collects gold that nobody else does.
Yeah.
He gets rewarded gold currency for defeating monsters
In a secret dungeon that only he can access.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of shit like that. So he is now basically playing a game that nobody else is playing, like in the world. He's doing his
Serving
own little thing.
under those unknown, the system.
Yeah, and like the core conflict, because we are wondering like, what is the conflict here? The conflict is the world is trying, like humanity is trying to eradicate these dungeons once and for all. They are a big business thing, so there is a lot to that. That's a whole like subplot of the show and of the story that it's based on, the manhwa. But what's his name again? Sung Jin-woo. His main conflict is A, he's trying to figure out what the fuck's going on with him. B, he's trying to get stronger. And then C, his like underlying or overarching goal is to save his mother.
Yes.
His sick mother. He has a sister, but he has a sick mother she's in a coma because when the gates appeared, some people were like put into a coma. Like the presence of magic in the world had an effect on some people, almost like an allergy, and they all went like into a coma.
Like their bodies didn't awaken to the magic, so the magic affects them in terrible ways.
Right. So they're like Sleeping Beauty kind of thing. Like they're just, I think they call it like the eternal slumber or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's trying to find a way to cure her, and he thinks that by using this system, he might find a way to cure her. So he's got to keep getting stronger. That's his motivation.
Yeah.
Is I gotta get fast, gotta get strong, gotta save. Whatever. He's just gotta get stronger, and he's trying to save his mom basically.
Yeah.
That's his motivation. But like the world itself is like, humans are just trying to survive, but then some people are trying to get rich. Some people use the dungeons as like for sport. Like that, I find that Sung Jin-woo, while he's kind of a cool character, I actually think the how other people use the dungeons to be more fascinating.
Yeah.
I think
Like the murderous hunters and shit.
Yes. Yes. Talk about that for a little bit. So like
there are hunters that will form a party, a new party, every time they do a dungeon for reasons unknown. And they have like 3 members that are always on the party. They never have a healer.
right.
And they go in with the intent of beating the boss and collecting mana crystals, which are worth real life currency.
Real money, yeah.
And they slaughter the new hires and keep the cash for themselves.
They literally murder them. And actually also there's the one guy that's literally a murderer.
Yeah.
There's that too, where it's like the thing that in the show is there's whatever happens in the dungeon stays in the dungeon because normal people don't go in there. So like there is a police force for hunters, but they can't see what's happening in the dungeon. There's dungeons like when we say the gates, right? Gates.
Yeah.
Sorry, gates, dungeons, whatever. When they see these gates, they can't monitor them all. There's like fucking hundreds of gates in Japan alone. And this is happening worldwide.
Yeah.
By the way, this is not just Japan. This is the States has them, France, China, like anywhere you can think of. Except Canada. We didn't get any.
Apparently not. Yeah.
Actually, no. There's somebody does say the Canadian hunter.
Yeah.
There is one line about some Canadian hunter, and I went, yeah. He's in like hockey gear. He uses like a hockey stick. He's just a big
His
goon.
enchanted weapon's just the stick.
Yes. Yeah. And he like skates his way through the dungeon.
He can summon hockey pucks at the end of his stick.
That's
to
exactly right.
Slaughter his enemies.
Yeah. He's searching for the Stanley Cup. That's his that's his crown.
It's his holy grail.
That's his holy grail. That's exactly it. Yeah. That's his quest. So like they can't monitor all of these gates, and they can't see what's happening in them either. Because when you go in, it's just a fucking dungeon. It's like a cavernous thing that goes on and on. And it's like, so
seemingly endless. Yeah.
Seemingly endless. So it's like it's a giant cavern. So you could literally take some, and the dungeons disappear after you kill the boss. So all the evidence is gone.
Yeah.
So you could literally just like go in with some other people, murder them, slaughter them, finish the dungeon, and then boop, there goes all the evidence. You just got away with murder. So I find that shit more interesting than the Sun Jinwoo like plot. Personally,
that's fair.
Know. He's an interesting character. He's kind of I guess my main gripe with him is he's the definition of the OP protagonist.
Yeah.
You familiar with this?
Yep.
Yeah. It's a big trope in anime and power. This is a power fantasy story. He's so OP, but and so quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've actually, because you said you've been talking about this for 4 years. Did you read the manhwa?
I did.
Did you finish the manhwa?
I did.
Did you know that I read the manhwa?
No, I don't think I did.
I read 75% of it. I almost finished. I got to it's 200 chapters. I got to chapter 150.
Oh shit.
I got to right when they explain what it all means, and then I checked the fuck out. And I'm not going to spoil this, but I am going to give people a warning. The explanation behind the magic, yeah, you fucking know.
I know exactly what you mean.
You fucking know. The explanation behind the magic, the explanation behind the video game screen and his whole fucking systems and mechanics, all that explanation is so fucking convoluted and confusing. It is, and I checked out. I was like, this is too stupid.
Well, I mean, to add to that, you actually benefited more than you know. Because truthfully, I think the ending fucking sucks.
Really?
Yeah, I hate the ending.
Interesting.
Skip the last couple chapters if you're to read it, and hopefully they change the last couple episodes, because it'll suck.
I'm telling you right now, the first season of this show, I already knew, because I dipped my toes in, because I already knew what the story was. So I dipped my toes in because I'm like, okay, let's see what an adaptation of this would look like. Let's check it out. I already knew the story, and I knew where it went, and I knew where I tapped out because it got too stupid. But I can tell you, if you're going in knowing nothing, probably the first 2 seasons you're going to love, because the first 2 seasons are very simple, which is just a guy trying to get more powerful and fighting this cool boss and this cool monster, and he just keeps getting more and more fucking powerful.
Yeah.
He gets ridiculous abilities near the end of this story. Literally he becomes a god, essentially. Yeah. Without spoiling too much, but he becomes so overpowered it's not even funny. And very quickly, even where we're probably, I don't know where, how many episodes is season 1?
12. I'm not sure if they've ended the season.
That's the thing, is I don't know if they're done yet, because
they might be going to 24, 25.
Because he just got the ability to summon guys that he takes out, right? That just happened. Yeah. So he has the ability to resurrect defeated monsters, and then they're now his familiars.
It's literal necromancy.
Yeah, necromancy. Yeah, he has that ability, which I think other hunters, we didn't mention this, but certain hunters, if you're strong enough, you actually have special abilities.
Yeah.
Not every hunter has this though, but certain ones do.
And I mean, a lot of them are typically just shit that in a typical game would be kind of low level, stealth.
Yeah, you can go invisible. Well, that's a pretty good ability. In the real world, that's
it's fucking huge.
Yeah, that's a huge, yeah. in a video game would be in the real world is ridiculously useful. And then some guys have a flash step kind of thing. They can suddenly
little speed boosts.
Yeah,
and shit.
little speed boosts and shit. Some guys have reinforce, and it makes it hardens their skin.
The powerhouse type skills.
Yeah, they turn into a human shield type of thing. But I lost my train of thought. Where was I going with this? Oh, so by the end of the first season, I anticipate he's going to be right at the point he's about to become a broken character.
Yeah.
There is maybe in those early arcs, he has 2 or 3 fights where you feel it, where you're like, oh man, he barely made it out of that. And then that just kind of stops. And then he just kind of curb stomps everything for quite a while, you know, because he almost has like a broken ability because he can grind, you know, and he just grind up his level and get stronger. Like when he levels up, it actually physically alters his appearance even. He gets taller. You remember this?
Taller and far more handsome.
Yes, and he gets like he gets more muscular. Like if he puts because at first he just keeps upgrading because when he levels up, he's able to change his stats, and he keeps putting in all the strength, and he becomes like super ripped all of a sudden, and then he's like grows an extra foot, and everyone around him's like, "Fuck, this is the same guy. He looks so different, right?"
Yeah.
So he just becomes so broken so quickly, but like people are gonna like it. I just know where it goes. The explanation, like I'll put it this way: if the twist in Attack on Titan that the Titans also have human riders inside them, if that broke you, this is 10 times stupider than that. Is that a fair?
I won't disagree with you.
It was so dumb when they finally fucking revealed it. I so badly want to say, but. Any pros or cons you want to mention? Sorry,
Dude, the fight scenes are fucking pretty.
Okay, so I want to comment on that. The animation, I don't think is incredible, but I think the direction is what sells it. So I don't think it's the prettiest anime, but I think the art direction and the way they animate the fights, the choreography is like top tier.
Yeah. Dude, like those POV shots when he's like getting his ass handed to him for like, 2 seconds. Badass.
This anime does such a good job of making you feel the impact and the speed of the fights.
Yeah.
And it sells it because that's a big thing in this story is how fast somebody's moving and how hard they're fucking hitting. And you feel like some of the attacks he does, and sometimes when he gets fucked up, like, and when he's really darting around, they do a really good job with the fight scenes in this. The choreography is excellent.
Yeah,
really good direction for sure. But I don't think I think the rest of it kind of just looks okay. It's not insanely.
I mean,
good.
like the animation isn't top tier.
No. Like
but I love those fucking fight scenes.
The fight scenes are really good. Yeah, and that's why a teenage boy would love this show. Would fucking love it. It's a power fantasy, But the jaded adult me is kind of just like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, give me a little bit more substance here. I don't know. Although I did read a lot of it. I read a good chunk of it until it got too stupid.
Oh, I mean, you checked out right where I would expect you to.
It just got so fucking stupid. I don't have any other notes on this, though, but by all means.
So they actually did something that a lot of animes are doing, and it bugs the shit out of me. Episode 7.5.
I don't remember seeing this.
Yeah, well, to your benefit, because I skipped it. There's no point.
Is this the recap?
Yes.
Stop doing recaps.
7.5. Like,
stop.
7 fucking episodes. What are you recapping?
Yeah. What the
fuck?
fuck?
If I can sit down and watch the entire anime in 2 hours, I don't need a fucking recap.
Why? But why? Okay, here's what I don't understand. Let's talk. This is a good side topic here. Who are recaps for? Like, if you're a fan of the show, let's use One Piece.
Yeah.
One Piece is a good example. If you're a fan of the show, right? Wouldn't it stand to reason you're already up to date?
Yeah.
Like, if let's say I know at One Piece at like what episode are they at?
Like basically 1,100.
Okay, so like 1,100, but let's just say 1,000. If episode 1,000's coming out, and then they're doing a recap episode of like, here's what happened between 900 and 998, like 999. Do you not think the people who are at episode 1,000 already know that? Yeah. Who the fuck is tuning in at episode 1,000? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think anybody's doing that. Like,
well, I mean, the poor suckers that are watching it on Netflix and skip like 500 episodes because they haven't purchased those.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it basically goes from like episode 500 straight to like 1,050.
They didn't bother licensing the first 500 episodes?
Apparently it's coming.
Okay.
But like
bizarre.
You can watch 1 to 500 and then you skip straight to 1,000.
Oh, so sorry, it's missing the opposite.
It's missing the middle.
It's missing the 500 to 1,000.
It's like they give you the 2 slices of bread, but they don't give you the meat and cheese.
Right. You get the special sauce, but you ain't getting no pickles or onions.
Exactly. Like, it's fucking stupid.
That's bizarre.
So I guess
But-
those people benefit from the episode.
No, but I'm legitimately asking you, like, I understand. Okay, so like, let's use Slash Cinema actually as an example here. So Mark and I, we thoroughly go through every film in a horror franchise. So if we're doing Friday the 13th, we're talking about all of them. If you've never seen Friday the 13th, we're giving you a comprehensive guide about the entire series.
Yeah.
Now, you would benefit watching that podcast or that video if you probably were never going to watch them all to begin with. Or if you really just wanted an information dump and you wanted to learn about them, that's useful. But in a TV show, I feel like the way to do that would be a series retrospective. Like, I'm sure there's a million jackasses on YouTube that have One Piece, the story so far, like shit like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I guess that is the point, is like, it's like, if you were never going to watch, like, it would be good for someone like me. Like, I'm never going to watch One Piece, right? So a video like that would be useful if I wanted to know what is it all about, right?
Yeah.
But the difference is that's not episode 1000.5. That's a separate video on a separate platform. That is a separate entity. So don't put a recap episode in the fucking like main line of episodes. Like, how did One Piece had to have had recap?
One Piece has had them.
Yeah.
They don't like label them as like an episode number. They straight up tell you that it's a recap episode. Now, to its credit, oftentimes it's like random shit that's going to be relevant. That's like, oh, hey, this was a thing. And I go, oh, fuck, I forgot about that because that was like 800 episodes ago.
Right.
But for like episode 7.5, it's like, this came out last week, you know?
But like, here, isn't there a smarter way of doing it? So like,
One Piece did a thing, or started to do a thing, with like episode of East Blue, episode of Alabasta, episode of Skypiea, all that shit. Just make the fucking arcs movies. Instead of wasting like 10 hours trying to watch all this shit, you summarize it in an hour and a half. You can do it. And they've done it.
That's not a
Just
bad idea.
do the arcs like that, and then the people that don't want to watch 1,000+ episodes can just watch these movies, and they spend like a week instead of 6 months trying to catch up.
And so you're saying what you like is just take the main beats of an arc and condense that into a feature film and maybe up the animation quality a bit, like redo it a little bit, touch it up. Kind of like what Dragon Ball Super has the same shit, but they're in that case, I think it's, backwards, right? Super, that like Resurrection F, like when Frieza came back, that wasn't on the show before. There was a movie, and then it became a season, right?
Yeah, same thing with Battle of Gods, right?
Yes.
They released Battle of Gods, and then, I mean, they changed some shit
It's the
for
first
the anime.
arc in Super.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
like, they did change, like, a bit of the movie, which I'm not going to fault.
yeah,
But, like...
that's not a bad idea, though.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Like, condense it. Why not? Fuck the recaps.
But the point is, it's its own thing. You're saying the same thing I did, which is, don't make it a part of the fucking mainline show. Make a separate thing that if somebody wants to just check out what it's all about, they have that option.
Yeah.
But if you're a fan that's tuning in weekly, leave those people alone. Just give them the next fucking episode or take a break.
Yeah. Like, if you need the time to maybe get your budget in order, I don't know why the fuck they do these recaps. Just take the week.
Oh, it's to buy time.
Yeah.
It's to buy time. It's totally just to buy time.
Just fuck it. Take the week off. I will thank you, because I sure as shit am not going to watch that recap episode.
I just don't understand what you're benefiting from the It's like the old clip show. Like remember when like did you ever get into The Simpsons? I don't think I ever.
I've dabbled.
Okay, well, The Simpsons. This was a thing that shows used to do. Like they called them clip episodes, like clip show episodes, and literally it's like it's a cheat episode where they reuse clips of a bunch of previous episodes and then film like 20% new footage, and it's literally just footage of people being like, remember the time when we did this?
Yeah.
Like, and then cut to a clip from an episode, 2 seasons ago. It's a lazy way of making an episode.
Yeah.
And they used to do that. That was a thing. And that's really what these episodes are. That's what these fucking 0.5s are. But what I'm asking is like, who wants this? Who is asking for this? Like for this, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I can't tell you. It's like, what I can say is nothing feels worse than waiting all fucking week for that new episode, and then you go to play it, and it's just fucking recap. Like, I would rather just wait the week.
When you realize you're like, oh, I get nothing new. This is
like,
nothing.
Why get my hopes up? Just hey, we're taking a week off.
I want to touch on something you said. So sure. you brought up, like on a show like One Piece, you're like, okay, well sometimes they'll do a recap and they'll remind you of something that happened 400 episodes ago because you probably don't remember this little detail, but now it's going to be relevant in the story. Do you know a better way of doing that? You write around it. Don't show me the clip. Just fucking write it into the plot.
Yeah.
Like, it's called writing. You can do that. You can write a thing where they reference it and then, hey, you're probably going to get, like, it's probably going to jolt your memory and then you'll be like, oh, fuck, it's that character.
Yeah.
But don't just go like, here's the clip. Now you remember. Like, or, I mean, a lazy way of doing it is just have the character, like, have a flashback, but you're still writing it into a new episode.
Yeah.
This is actually a huge gripe I have with fucking newer television shows. The preview at the beginning of the episode, you know what I'm talking about? Where it's like, you'll be watching some show. This happens, I watch a lot of like shitty teen drama shows. Don't ask me why. It's a guilty pleasure of mine.
Some of them are pretty good.
Yeah, there you go. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. And they always have the little recap at the beginning of the episode. And I never watch them.
Yeah.
Because if you watch them, it spoils everything this current episode is about to be. Like every plot element that they're showing you in that preview, like at the recap, the 60-second recap, every one of those plot beats is about to be in this episode. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I've actually fallen victim to that. I don't remember the show, but it was like it was an episode starts with the recap, and then it shows a character that hasn't been around for like 30, 40 episodes, and it's like, oh, so they're in it.
So they're in it, right? So okay, now you just spoiled that's happening. I guess that character is going to be in it, or some plot that was connected to them is that's the theme of this episode.
Like, well, that's what this one's about.
Yeah, it's basically just a spoiler at the beginning of the fucking episode. Like your recap is just ruining what we're about to watch. Keep the mystery alive. So bottom line, no more recap episodes. Just write it into the show or make a separate fucking thing that recaps it in a more creative way. Either do a retrospective video, like leave it to the YouTubers to do it, or make a fucking feature film like you said.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. Soul leveling feature film, the first 7 episodes worth of content. They're going to take the 2 hours and turn it into a 1 hour, 40-minute feature film.
Save you 20 minutes of like 20 credits or some shit.
Great. Yeah, right. Of intros and outros. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the end of that rant. I wanted to, I'm glad you brought that up because holy fuck does it drive me nuts. And anime's still doing these.
Yeah.
We're still, like, modern television shows don't have clip shows anymore. Like North American TV shows. We don't really do clip shows anymore. Not really. Like Rick and Morty even lampooned this fucking idea. Like they've made fun of it several times with their own creative spin on it. This needs to stop. I don't know. It must be just a thing that was always a tradition in like, Japanese production and the anime, development. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop doing recap episodes. All you're doing is fucking glorified clip shows and they fucking suck. And exactly to your point, when it's only episode 7, you're exactly what you just said. What are you recapping at this point?
Yeah.
I can understand if it's the finale and then you're like, okay, now we're going to do a quick little recap for the jackasses that didn't bother to watch the show and are only watching the finale. Okay, here you go. But since now it's like 20 episodes worth, but like 7 episodes, that's worth recapping? The fuck?
Hey man, it was an episode well spent.
Did you watch the whole thing?
Oh, fuck that. I skipped slide 4.5. As soon as I saw it was recap, I went, oh, fuck this.
Yeah, that's the
Shut
right
off the
answer.
TV. Yeah.
Anything else to say about solo leveling, John?
No, that's all I have for solo leveling.
Well, you stole my first pick, so on to your next pick. I'm sure you'll steal another one. Wouldn't it be funny if you had all of mine? It's never happened. But, folks, I'm confident John is going to have, I'm going to say, I've got 5 picks, so I'm going to say you're at least going to have 2 of my picks.
All right.
But I'll be impressed if you have more. What do you got?
All right, so that was solo leveling. So, Delicious in Dungeon.
Ding, ding, ding. Winner, winner. You're on a roll. That's 2 for 2. Delicious in Dungeon. Why don't I do the plot?
Yeah, go ahead.
I got the plot here because otherwise I will never get to say
I
it.
will snag every one of your picks.
Exactly. Delicious in Dungeon. So this is set in a fantasy realm. Surprise, surprise. This is another fantasy fucking anime. And it's literally, it's not an isekai. It's not modern times. It's literally in a fantasy world. It's straight up 100% fantasy.
Yeah.
Like Dungeons and Dragons, elves, warriors, dwarves, everything. It's all there. It's like as stereotypical as you can get. And there are dungeons, of course, in this world. And inside the dungeons are all kinds of ooglies and boogly monsters out to get you. They don't call them ooglies or booglies. And we start off following this party of, I called them explorers. What do they act? Do they have a term?
No,
Like they're not called like hunters like they are in Soul Leveling. Did they give them a term?
I don't think so.
Okay. I just called them explorers. So it starts off with this party. It's like a party of 4, and they're fighting a red dragon. It's like this fierce battle, and the dragon's just tossing their salad, fucking them up, and the dragon eats one of the party members. It's like a young girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's basically like the cleric. The cleric is like a healer,
Yep.
like a healer mage. And she eats the girl, but not before the girl is able to teleport her other party members out of the dungeon, effectively sacrificing herself.
It was the other girl that managed to teleport them out.
Oh, she doesn't teleport them?
No.
Oh.
So what it was
That-
she sacrificed herself in her brother's place. Because he was going to be eaten.
There it is. So I was giving her, that was stolen valor. I was giving her valor she did not earn. But they teleport out, so the girl gets eaten. She saves her brother. There you go. She still did something heroic.
I mean, that one line they had after that, I kind of laughed at a little bit when it was Fallon. She said, what the fuck's her name again? Or no, not Fallon.
No,
Sorry,
Fallon's the girl that got eaten.
It was Marcel.
Yeah.
Marcel said, where's Fallon? Because did the teleport spell not work on her? And Lio says, not unless it can reach the dragon's stomach.
Right, because she got eaten.
Yeah.
Yeah. Womp, womp, womp.
Womp womp.
So they teleport out of the dungeon, and there's only 3 members left in the party. So we've got the warrior class, which is Laos. He is the brother of the little cleric girl that got eaten by the dragon. We have the elf mage Marcel, who you mentioned, and we've got the thief Chilchuck. And when I say elf mage, I'm sure you can picture it. I don't even need to describe it to you. When I say warrior guy, I'm sure you can. They're all very generic looking.
Yeah.
Like they look like exactly what you think they look like. So Laos' sister is now in the stomach of a dragon, and he convinces the other 2 to help save his sister since dragons take a long time to digest their meals. So he's like, we can still save her. She's not completely dead. I don't know what that means exactly, but the way he explains it is like...
Well, what it was the dragon was supposed to be going into hibernation.
Right.
So it would take time to digest her. And then...
and time would be like weeks, I think it's supposed to... Is it days or weeks?
I believe it was weeks.
I think they imply it's weeks. So she's still... But I think she's still dead.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
it's
assumed.
Yeah, like she's dead inside the dragon, but in this world, there's resurrection magic.
As long as you are within the dungeon.
Yes.
As long as you're in the dungeon, your soul is still connected to your body.
You can be resurrected.
But if the body gets moved around too much and damaged in
And
transport, your
basically-
soul will break away.
Yeah, if your body gets like dissolved basically from like the stomach acid of the dragon, then they can't resurrect you.
Yeah.
But so Leos convinces them to join him to save his sister. But dungeon exploration is not a cheap endeavor. It is an expensive hobby, and his party is actually not very successful at it. They're not very good. They're kind of a small, weak party, and they are broke, and they don't really have any money to immediately, like they were kind of on their last legs when they fought the dragon.
Yep.
So they're kind of fucked to be able to go back in to immediately like start a rescue party, basically. However, Leos has a plan. So in order to pull this off, they could save a ton of money if they didn't have to buy food. If they didn't have to stock up on supplies, they could afford this. They could effectively do it for like nothing, right? Or next to nothing. And he proposes a radical idea. What if instead of buying food from the outside world and bringing it into the dungeon, they just eat the dungeon creatures for sustenance?
Maybe they could find something delicious in dungeon.
In said dungeon. Yes, there it is. Yeah, winner, winner. So at first, the other two party members are just like, are you out of your mind? Because like, this is a radical idea, which that in and of itself also kind of surprised me. I'm like, is that so radical? Like,
yeah, that was a thought I had.
That to me isn't as insane as everybody in the world, like in this world is like, are you mad? Like, you can't eat monsters. But it's like, yeah, but there's like fish monsters. There's mushroom men. Like, there's birds. Like, there's things that to me look very similar to real world creatures.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like such a stretch. There's like lobsters that are, I mean, they're giant, but still lobsters.
Yeah, like fish monsters and shit.
Yeah, like clams. Like I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's that crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't far off.
I don't know,
like,
but people think that it's a crazy idea. But so they go into the dungeon and they catch a bunch of like random monsters. He catches like a giant crab fish or crawfish, whatever you want to call them, like one of those things. And they're enacting their plan, and they're like in this like, because when we say dungeon, there's not only one dungeon in the world. There's multiple, right?
I think it's just the one.
Oh, it's just the one.
Yeah.
Okay. So then there's just this, because the one dungeon is enormous. It's like never ending.
Yeah.
It's like no one's ever conquered this dungeon. That's the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
I didn't really write this down. Do you know about the lore about the dungeon, all that shit? You know what I'm talking about?
The Mad Mage created this dungeon, and I believe it was originally owned by like the elves or like the dark elves or something, and they like sold it off to the humans.
But there's like some shit about like within the dungeon is a whole like castle.
Yeah. So like, I mean, there are like paintings and shit you can go into. Right. And they keep showing these like kingdoms in these paintings, and they don't really explain any of that, but it kind of implies that this kingdom exists within the dungeon.
Yeah, it's very confusing. So the way I interpret it was the dungeon is basically a pocket world. There is an entire world within this dungeon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it has its own rules and like, creatures and ecosystems and all that shit. But it's like it's beyond enormous. It's like every level of the dungeon it's its own fucking like country, not country, but you know what I mean? Like it's its own ecosystem basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they never actually say how like deep it goes, because of course like nobody's truly explored it.
No.
And I do believe they imply that the only reason that people are still exploring the dungeon is because there are like parts that haven't been explored. They don't think all the treasure's been claimed yet.
Isn't there some rumor though where it's like if you defeat the something,
if you defeat the Mad Mage, the dungeon will cease to exist.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I thought it was like you get eternal power or some shit.
That's implied, yeah.
It's something like that. Yeah. So I lost my train of thought. What am I doing here? Oh yeah. Okay. So they start eating. They start trying to eat. They're like, okay, go back to what's in the dungeon. So each floor is like an ecosystem. There's like a forest could be a floor. So to paint this picture for people, it's like, don't expect, it's not all just caves. It's like there are giant masonry style like hallways, and there's banquet halls and forests and fields, and like each hall of the dungeon is literally its own little world.
There's like literally a lake.
There's a lake. Yeah, right. One of the levels is just a lake. So like it is super fucking elaborate. It's its own pocket little world. So they're in like this safe space that's like this like generic hall area, and they start trying to eat these creatures and everyone's staring at them like, what the fuck? But one person is intrigued by them. Not only intrigued, he's excited. They meet Senshi, who is he's a dwarf, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Senshi the dwarf, who he sees that they're trying to eat monsters and he gets really excited and he's like, ooh, let me show you how to properly do this. And he explains to them that he has been exploring and living off the dungeon ecosystem for 10 years.
And if I may just add this in real quick, it's worth noting that despite it being unheard of that people eating monsters and shit, Laios has a fucking like monster cookbook.
Yeah, so that's the thing is like, even though it's like not really a thing, there is like a little underground movement of people that they have tried this a little bit, like dipped their toes in.
Yeah.
But Senshi, on the other hand, has been like full on living this lifestyle. He's just been living off the dungeon. Like literally, like, he doesn't leave. He just lives inside the dungeon. Like this man has mastered this dungeon. He has the dungeon down to a science, basically. He knows what creatures are in it. He knows their behavior patterns. He knows how you can cook almost every creature in the dungeon, effective ways to kill them, like how to prepare them, all this crazy shit he knows. Because he's made it like he's made it like his lifestyle. He shows them the proper way to cook the monsters, and to everyone's surprise, oh my god, it's so fucking good. It's delicious. Like they're all like shocked at how good the food tastes.
Yeah.
Like that's a big revelation. It's like, oh, you can eat monsters. Oh, okay, cool. You know.
Now, to add to that, one of the things I didn't like was the fact that these guys are eating all these delicious foods prepared using monsters, but they still resist eating monsters.
Do you mean like by the 5th episode where they're still? Yeah.
It's like, ew, that's gross. Well, you've been doing it this whole fucking time. What do you mean?
So like I agree. So like well, hold that thought. I'm gonna get into that because that's a big problem with the show is the formula of the show it just goes on and on and on. So Senshi joins their group because Laios tells him about the plight about his sister, and he enthusiastically asks to join them because he doesn't get won over because he's like, oh my god, that's awful about your sister. We got to rescue her. Why does he want to join them? Do you remember?
He wants to eat more monsters, isn't it?
He's never cooked a dragon.
Right. Yeah.
He wants to eat a red dragon. That's his fantasy. Because even though he's been living in the dungeon for 10 years, there's a lot of creatures he hasn't eaten yet. And that's his whole thing is like he lives for food. That is his life. His life is food and tasting every type of food that exists in every form it exists. He doesn't just want to try like, it's like, oh, you have this type of meat. He wants to try it dried. He wants to try it boiled. He wants to try it fried, raw, in a sandwich, like everything.
Yeah.
He is all about the experience of eating food. That is his life's goal. So he wants to join them to help kill the dragon so he can eat it, which is kind of funny. Which, in case you're wondering what is the tone of this show, it is a comedy.
Yeah.
This is not an action adventure. This is not a fantasy drama. This is a comedy. This is a comedic fantasy. Yes.
Yeah.
Very comedic. Very on the nose. What follows is basically the party. So it's the 4 members now with Senshi added to their group, making their way back to where the dragon resided in the dungeon. They're slowly trying to work their way there. That's the basic premise of the show. You want to go first? What you liked, what you didn't like, whatever. Any point you want to bring up?
One of the things I liked, I also happen to dislike.
Oh,
so
please.
Now, the recipes look fucking delicious. The issue I have with that is I could not watch the show if I wasn't eating something.
Okay, I'm glad you brought this up. So I actually, before you came over, I was eating dinner. I literally put on an episode of the show. This is, are you familiar with the subgenre known as food porn?
Yep.
That's what this is. This is a food porn so it's an interesting hybrid of a show. It is a fantasy dungeon crawler combined with a food porn anime. That's what it is. It's an interesting hybrid of what if you took the food porn formula but interjected it into a fantasy dungeon setting, and that's that. There you go. That's the show. Yeah. And you're 100% right. They do a good job. Like, the food looks good. It makes you hungry.
Yeah.
It legit does, to your point. I remember many times being like, oh, I wouldn't mind grabbing a snack right now. Yeah, I mean, that's the effect.
I had to sit down with dinner and throw on the show. I could not watch it if I wasn't eating dinner.
And I don't think I ever watched. Nah, that's not true. I watched a couple episodes where I didn't eat anything, but I was hungry. It was working on me. But yeah, that is definitely a good point. It's definitely a food porn. What do I got here? Okay, so I guess a big problem for me is, so in case you're wondering, how many episodes are out? Do you know?
13.
Is that the whole?
I think it's still going.
Okay. Are you up to date?
Yep. I watched the most recent episode yesterday.
Okay. I stopped watching actually like maybe a month ago, and then I just watched an episode tonight with dinner in preparation to film this, so it was kind of fresh in my mind.
Yep.
I didn't stop watching because I don't like it. I stopped watching because it gets so repetitive. It's the same fucking formula over and over again.
Yeah.
So you don't know where the show's going to go at first. You know, you've got, like, they're trying to rescue this guy's sister. We're going back in the dungeon. The formula basically goes something like this. Each episode is they go to a new part of the dungeon that either they have been before or they haven't seen before, and they encounter some unique creature. We then, as the audience, learn about the creature, its habits, and how it acts. They then have to deal with the creature, usually by killing it in some way, and then they cook and eat the creature. And then there's maybe some little lesson and some little character growth or discussion and dialogue. You get a little bit of backstory on the motivations of the character. You learn a little bit about the characters' personalities, but that's the formula of the show. And it just keeps repeating that same fucking formula over and over again, where it's like they encounter like a suit of armor, and Leos is like, I wonder if you can eat a suit of armor. And they're like, that's impossible. How could you eat a suit of armor? And then they defeat the suits of armor. And they find out in the armor is like these weird amiibo creatures. And they eat the weird like amoeba things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is the fucking formula of the show. And it just gets so repetitive.
Yeah. It's like, hey, I wonder if I could eat that.
I bet you can. I bet you by the end of the
And then
episode you're
guess
going
what?
to. Right.
Now I want to fucking try it.
Yeah.
It looks delicious.
Yeah. Like, remember they eat like there's like these bugs that look like fake gold and like jewels, and then they just eat those. What do they turn them into like a sorbet too, I think, at one point?
Yeah. And then, well, technically, they did kind of eat ghosts.
Yeah,
because they made like the jam or whatever with the fucking
yeah.
bugs, and then the ghost chilled the jar.
Yeah, I mean this is a food porn anime. They get insanely creative with like these recipes. Like, whoever wrote is writing this show has to have some culinary background, because like the amount of depth they go into with these explanations of how you cook it and how you prepare it and the way you cut this creature, like, it's so specific, you know, in their explanation. It's like, in order to prepare, I don't know, this jewel bug, you need to first take off its legs, and then you separate its abdomen, and then you boil it for 3 minutes, and they literally animate all of this.
Yeah.
And like, this is a portion of the episode. It's like 20-minute runtime. 5 minutes of it is just the preparation, and then them eating it. You know, this is the formula.
Yeah.
And this, so I've got down here, the stakes feel very low. The characters seem very chill about what should be a pretty urgent issue. I'm like, that's my problem.
To that point, when they were eating sorbet, Laios made a joke. It's Like, just think, if Fallon didn't get eaten by that dragon, we wouldn't be enjoying this sorbet right now. Like, dude, your sister's fucking dying.
No, or dead. Like
Yeah.
your sister's dead. Like I know. I just find that that's a problem for me with this show is I don't mind if it's a like gonna be just a chill show about like this group that's trying to learn about every creature in the dungeon and wants to try all these neat dishes. Like that's that's fine. That's a neat concept. My problem is you set up in the first episode a very urgent thing. Time is a factor. My sister, we have a chance to bring her back. She saved, well, I mean, again, technically she didn't save us, but she saved Leos.
Yeah.
Shouldn't that be all you're thinking about? But like every episode, it's like, they don't even mention this. Every episode, they're not even, like, they very rarely bring up the fucking sister. Like, I'm not where you are, so I don't know if.
I mean, yeah, they tend to just forget about her.
Yeah, it's like an afterthought, and it's like, it irks me, and that's why I stopped watching. I got to like episode 7, and I tapped out, because I'm like, why are you guys not rushing this? Like, why are you not taking this more seriously? It's like, you guys are going on about like, I wonder if we can eat fishmen. I wonder if we can eat suits of armor. Like, what if we can eat ghosts? Like,
Whoa,
you know,
that thing is a magical ball of water. Can we eat that?
yeah, literally. It's like, I've never tried to eat that before. Let's try to eat that. It's like, I have a sister who's dead. Isn't that funny? Like, it irks me. And I think the show would have worked way better if, because I really dig the vibe of the show.
Yeah.
The show is very like chill, relaxed. There's some action, but there's not a ton of fighting. There's each episode they have a little bit of a conflict, but it's never huge. It's more like just enjoy the journey, have a good time. It's got a really like chill vibe to it.
Yeah.
It's got a fun, lighthearted vibe to it. But the problem is you set up your central conflict as a very serious, dramatic issue. That shouldn't have been the main problem. I think the problem should have been, I don't think the sister should have even gotten killed. I don't think they should have even used that setup.
Yeah.
The setup could have just been something as simple as, my dream is to conquer the dungeon one day. Leos, how are we ever going to do that? We're one of the shittiest parties around. We can't afford to do it. Only the biggest parties can afford it because it's such an expensive hobby. I've got a plan. What if we lived off the dungeon? And then there's your plot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the stakes are nowhere near as serious, and you're not putting any time limit on anything. So when we get this slow pace of every episode being chill and all about like, can we eat that? And they go on these the show is constantly doing side quests.
Yeah.
Constantly doing side quests in order to experience some culinary goal, right? So if they came up with lower stakes, it would have fit the show, the tone, so much better.
Now,
I would have gotten so much more invested.
On that note, they do actually take a bit of a turn around like episode 10, 11-ish. Mind you, that turn, it does kind of
This
reduce
is where you
the
tell me
stakes.
it's like, oh, the sister is actually, she joins them.
So they reduce the stakes. There's a bit of a twist. And I'm 100% sure if you watch it, you'll check out.
Oh, so I'll like it even less.
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
I mean, so...
Don't spoil it. No, don't spoil it.
Yeah, I'm not going to like go too much into it, but like they changed the stakes. But like some of the shit that happens is a little much.
Yeah.
And now their end goal has completely changed.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't expect that. I might have to check it out just because now I'm like curious, like morbid curiosity.
No, I mean,
but
if you keep watching after that, I will be shocked.
you're still into it though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch a lot of shit, so.
It's I don't know. I wanted to love it. I was having fun at first. I was like, this is fun. But then I just kept it kept back in my mind. I'm like, dude, your fucking sister, like, hurry the fuck up. Like, you just dicking around eating this fucking, like scorpion that you just caught. Like, I don't know. The characters are a little generico too. Like they don't have a ton of depth. That's another issue. It's like the warrior guy. He's the stoic warrior who's also kind of a klutz. And Senshi, the dwarf, is maybe the most interesting character.
Oh, he's my favorite.
But even he doesn't have a ton of depth. He's very one-dimensional. He's just like, yes, that would be delicious. I would like to try that in a meal. Let us do that. Like his mind is just food, food, food. What can we eat? But the cool thing about his character is he has the dungeon down to a science, to such a level that like he thinks of interesting ways to utilize the resources of the dungeon that nobody else would have ever thought of.
Yeah.
And like unique ways of like he'll take this from this creature because he can use that for that creature. Like he's always coming up with weird ways of synergizing what he finds, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like he'll capture this creature because he learns that this other creature likes eating it, so now he can use it as bait to catch this bigger creature. Like he'll do shit like that.
Yeah.
Which is neat. That's fun.
The fact that he found a way to grow crops in the dungeon was really cool to me.
Yeah, he grows crops in golems.
Yeah.
Like moving golems because they're made out of dirt. So he realizes like, well, you could just plant seeds in them. They're dirt. And golems, they like, I can't remember what he says, but it's like for whatever reason, golems have like the perfect conditions to grow crops in them because just because of their makeup. You know, like that's neat. It's a very creative take on the dungeon crawling genre. Like it is kudos to them for like, you know, the concepts they come up with, because there's some neat concepts. And I will say the amount of depth they go into all of the different types of monsters is really cool.
Yeah.
You get to see, it's not just like you're seeing orcs and you're seeing giant scorpions and giant snakes. It's like we got ghosts, we got imitation treasure chests, we got imitation treasure bugs, we've got giant squids, fish, we've got living paintings, we've got living armor. Help me out here. What else do we got?
I'm pretty sure there's a giant snake.
I think there was at one point.
Yeah.
There's the chicken snake.
That giant like fucking seahorse thing.
There's so many creative it's like the horse that walks on water and shit. And they call it something, I don't even remember. But like, if you're a fan of fantasy shit, holy fuck, you get your money's worth seeing all these different types of creatures. And I'm assuming that didn't let up. I'm assuming they're still doing it.
Oh, they're still doing it.
Yeah, like they go hardcore into the lore on like, there's like every type of fantasy creature that have ever been written about and created. It's in that fucking dungeon. So yeah, I mean, you're getting your money's worth that way. The plot doesn't interest me, and the characters I find are a little too simple. Yeah, didn't hook me. I wanted to really like it. I really like its vibe. I just think its plot sucks.
Yeah,
I think how they use those elements. Yeah.
Well, to add to that, couple of the things that bug me. Well, first of all, I'm gonna take a shot at Marcel because she's very whiny. I'm just so irritated at every episode with her constantly fucking complaining about something.
Well, literally, that's what I said. They're all a little one-dimensional.
Yeah.
Like her thing is, she exists to react in a disgusted manner to whatever they suggest.
Yeah.
So it's like Senshi and Liaos will be like, oh, let's try eating this eel. And then she'll be like, are you nuts? I'm not eating an eel. And then she eats the eel and she's like, actually, this is delicious. Like, and this happens every episode. Literally.
Yeah.
Every episode. They have a formula. That's it. They stick to it.
Yeah. And then they'll introduce characters that are really badass or seemingly so for them to like die fucking immediately.
I'm trying to think who. Well,
so there are characters that we've seen that die repeatedly. So they've actually saved the same party twice after they've been killed.
Oh, you're talking about that party?
The like jewel bug.
Yes, those people.
Yeah.
They see them again?
Yeah.
And they got killed again?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's kind of a joke.
And guess what? They're fucking back again.
Okay.
And they're fucking badass. Kind of makes you wonder how they died in the first place.
Right.
But they did. So, like, why are these characters that are stronger than our fucking protagonists dying so simply to shit that they kind of just, ate. So then that bugs me.
Are you annoyed? Maybe that's intentional.
Maybe.
Like maybe the idea is like in any other version of this story, these would be our heroes, these cool badass people. But no, it's these fucking food porn addicts. Like they're who you're supposed to latch on to. You know, maybe that's the idea. Like it's gotta be intentional.
Maybe.
I don't know.
But
possibly.
I feel like no, you're probably right. No,
I think that's the point. I think they're there for contrast. I think they're there for like to make a point. Yeah,
this is what this party should have been.
Yeah, I mean, but hey, they're not conquering; they keep dying. So what does that say? Like I don't know. Maybe it's something
maybe they
like
should eat monsters.
Yeah, yeah, right. What else you got about Delicious in Dungeon? I love the fucking name, Delicious in Dungeon. Just rolls right off the tongue. I mean, I like alliterations. The DD, nothing like a set of double Ds. But no, seriously, Delicious in Dungeon is a phenomenal name. That's a great name for an anime. Soul Leveling's a cool name too, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit on the nose.
A little. Yeah, a little. Like, you know what? No, I'm taking it back. That fucking name sucks. It's too boring. It's bullshit. No. Should have called it something else.
But no, I agree with you in the fact that the characters are generic.
Yeah. They just don't get a ton of depth.
Yeah. I mean, really, I'm in it for the food. Let's be real.
If you want a food, I mean, what was that fucking infamous anime that started this whole thing? I know you know this. You know what I'm talking about.
I know of Food Wars.
That's the one. Yeah, Food Wars.
The hentai food porn. Yeah.
That's the one. Well, it's not actually a hentai.
I mean, it might as well be.
Yeah. Okay.
There is a character that when they eat something delicious, their clothes blow off. And if it's really good, people surrounding them will lose their clothes.
So it's got like a ton of fan service?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
It's like entirely fan service.
Oh, I did not know this.
Episode 1 or 2, he like serves this girl like it was like octopus tentacles dipped in peanut butter or something, and it was like notoriously disgusting. And then it's like in a short clip of her being felt up by tentacles.
Oh, I didn't know there was fan service.
Oh, it's entirely fan service. Like
fan servicey, not just for the half-naked women, also for fat fucks who are watching the anime for the food porn aspect of it. So it's fan service to both fan groups.
It's food porn in the sense that the meat on the table isn't all that's being tenderized.
Yeah. It's not the only meat that they're beating on the show, is what you're saying?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add about Delicious in Dungeon?
No, that's all I've got.
So if you like food porn, you'll like this show.
Yeah.
Well, you go again because you just still. I only got 3 left. So you said you had 7?
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay.
So,
do you like hearing John talk? If you do, strap in because at some point he's going to talk for probably 2 hours straight while I chime in with snarky comments.
All right. There's no way this one's on your list.
It's gonna be some isekai bullshit.
No, it's not. It's not. Not this time.
What is it?
It is fantasy though. It's
fuck off. 3 fantasy shows in a row. Right. Folks, save me. There was nothing for me to watch.
It's Undead Unluck.
Fuck this show. Remember I said I watched more than what was on my list. If I didn't have anything to say about it, I wasn't gonna mention it.
Yep.
I watched the first episode. I watched it with Kevin, actually.
Yeah.
Kevin came over and we were both like, what is this? Go ahead. Did I sell it enough for you folks?
Totally, yeah.
Go ahead. Undead
Your opinion
Unluck.
is right where I expected.
You knew I wasn't going to watch. I did watch it, to my credit. I watched the first episode, but you knew that I would hate this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's not for me.
I mean, I'm kind of on the fence, to be honest.
But yeah,
anyway.
Go for it.
So, basic plot is Fuko has decided to give up on life. She was gifted this terrible power as a negator, because in this world there are people that can like negate things. In her case, she negates luck, thus unluck. So anybody she touches experiences mild to severe misfortune.
Does she like? Do people die around her? I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like,
she
yeah.
hugged her parents, saying goodbye as they were boarding a plane, and then the plane blows up.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah.
Like,
it was that level.
Extreme misfortune.
Yeah, right.
And then if she like barely knows you, she doesn't really have much of a connection. You might just sprain an ankle if you're lucky. But she can't touch anybody. She's living a miserable life. She's decided to end it all. And that's when she meets Andy. He saves her from jumping off this bridge. And she warns him, like, don't touch me. You'll experience unluck. You'll die. And he falls in front of a train and gets turned to mush. Only to then resurrect, because his ability is undead. He cannot die.
So we've got an unlucky girl with an undead boy. Undead Unluck. Get the all right, go ahead. Keep going.
So he decides to team up with her to maybe give her a reason to live, because now there's someone basically unaffected by her unluck. And he's hoping that if he can form a connection with her, like a love interest, he could maybe generate enough unluck that he could actually manage to die.
Yeah, because he actually like wants to die or
Yeah,
something.
he's been alive for a couple hundred years.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
So,
And
like,
he's like
desperate for death.
and he has the body of like a 40-year-old man,
Yeah, something like that.
but she's like a teenage girl.
18. And they did that on purpose.
Oh, it gets sexual?
Oh, absolutely. He's like constantly feeling her up under the shirt and shit.
What? I didn't
Yeah,
get to any of this shit. This didn't happen. How far did you get?
I'm up to date.
Which is what?
Like episode 14, 15.
Oh, fuck me. I only watched the first episode.
No,
and
I
checked
think they're
out.
going straight to like 25.
Like until she turns 25 and then.
I don't think they'll make it that far.
Yeah. This is Japan after all.
But they flesh it out a little more, because obviously that plot is very simple. So like later episodes, they do kind of redefine it. They join this group of negators, a council of 10, if you will. And their goal is to prevent the end of the world.
Yeah, this is where I was struggling with the first episode. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah,
Like, I
because they
genuinely-
don't get into fuck all.
Because I genuinely was like, oh, there's other people have powers and what is happening? So like this is the part I missed completely.
So I think it was like a good 5-6 episodes in. They introduce like this group of people. I believe they're called the council or whatever. And they're like 10 of them in this committee. And Andy and Fuko kill 2 people and take their seats. So they are now part of this council. And the whole goal of this council is there's like a book they call Apocalypse, who is, I believe they call him an Uma. And I actually wrote this down because the whole idea of Umas and negators confused the shit out of me. So I'll just get into that real quick. So negators are humans who, like Uma, have abilities themed around nullifying a specific principle or concept. And Umas are basically, they're the embodiment of the ability without the human. So they're essentially like a walking natural disaster that can affect like seasons or there's one I believe they called decay. So if you're around him, he can literally like end your life. Like your body will start to rot.
So and that was say that again, is Una and what?
Uma and Negator.
Uma and Negator. So the main girl would be a Negator
Yes.
and Undead would be
He's also a Negator.
okay. So neither one of
So
them.
because they're humans, they are classified as Negators. And Umas are just like the abilities in nature.
Japan, like anime, loves its nonsense terms.
Yeah.
This is a thing. I'm not against you making up words. You know, like Harry Potter has Muggle and all kinds of made up words. Like if you build a world, like a fictional world, you're probably gonna make up a couple terms.
Yeah.
But I find some animes go so hard in the paint on this, where it's like the Umas and the Hunters and the Negators and the, it gets a bit much.
Yeah.
Especially when you're watching like 10 animes, you're like, wait, what was the term they used for guys that fight in the dungeon? It's like, you didn't necessarily need the term. You could just say guys that fight in the dungeon. Like, you don't even need the term hunter in the show Solo Leveling.
Yeah.
You could just say guys that can use magic. Rolls right off the tongue.
Explorers, magicians. Yep.
No, but you know what I mean? It's like that is a big thing in anime. And I'm not going on a side rant here, but like, just even what you're saying, immediately I'm like, sorry, which was which again? But had you not even said those terms, you could have just said, there's people in the world that can tap into natural disasters, and there's other people in the world that can cancel abilities.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need terms for those people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is a fine balance between having that kind of shit and not having it, when to use it, when not to use it. And I'd find the better way of doing it is slow roll it. Like, if you're going to build a whole world, slow roll it. But animes often in the first episode, they'll throw and there's one on my list, they throw 10 terms at you in the first fucking episode. It's just it's too much.
Yeah.
It becomes overwhelming. Yeah. So sorry I interrupted.
But so the plot basically becomes the council trying to prevent apocalypse from causing the end of the world. Every 3 months, he gives them a set of quests. It can be any number of quests, and only the people sitting around the table can participate. And it'll be shit like capture, negator, whatever the fuck they call them, because there's so many of them. And I didn't care to write down any of their abilities because there's too much. It's like capture Uma plague, capture Uma unseen or some shit. But it's got to do with capturing other negators or these Uma and shit.
Okay. Do the main guy and girl join this council?
Yes.
Oh, so they're working. So even though are people on the council also Umas?
They're negators.
Sorry, negate. It's so fucking stupid. Are people on the council natural disaster people or not?
They are magicians, yes.
What?
They have magical powers.
Okay. I'm like, you fuck? What? That actually confused me. So, but when you say Umas, you know what? Fuck off. Just keep going. I don't fucking care. I hate you are reigniting how much I fucking didn't like this show. Keep going.
So the humans with superpowers sit around the table and they answer to a literal talking book called Apocalypse, who is literally going to bring on the apocalypse. And if they fail 101 quests, the world will end.
That's
God,
so fucking arbitrary.
It gets worse. God will descend to Earth and basically take over. So the whole plot is fending off apocalypse long enough to be strong enough to kill God. And if they can kill God, they'll lose their magical powers, and Fuko can hug her family again.
What? Why? Okay. Why? What did how? Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Which one first? How would her parents come back to life?
Well, they wouldn't. I was just taking a jab at her.
Oh, yeah. I was like, what? Okay.
No, but she would be able to have friends and shit again. Maybe have a boyfriend and make babies.
I don't know what you're talking about. This plot, you're explaining it to me, and I still don't understand what you're saying. And that's why I stopped watching the first episode, because I was like, they kept just doing things, and things were happening, and I'm like, I don't get what any of this shit is. So,
yeah.
Well,
there's not really anything I can add to.
What did you like? What didn't you like?
So essentially, all
I know what
really
I didn't
like about it
yeah,
is the combat and Andy's whole thought process, how he survives these Well, I guess. Yeah, survive isn't a fair word because he's undead.
He uses his regeneration ability in creative ways.
Yeah,
what I remember.
He can bite his finger off and shoot you with the fingertip.
Yeah,
it's wild.
And he's able to fly using blood.
Yeah. So I don't really understand that really. Because
Yeah.
like the fingertip, it's like his body is launching it away so it has room to grow that new fingertip.
Right.
With his legs, I don't understand how the hell he is launching himself through the air while like losing all that.
Because that's
blood.
like the image. I remember watching the trailer and being like, "Oh, looks like complete nonsense," and like that's the image. Is
And
like
it is.
him like flying through the air with like a blood jetpack, holding the teenage girl, being like, "Yeah!" And he's like, "Here we go!" And I was like, I don't know what the fuck's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he looks like Grimjow.
A little bit. Yeah.
He does. He totally looks
I mean,
like
if
Grimjow.
his hair were blue.
Yes, he looks exactly. Put editor Justin, please put on the screen Andy and Grimjow. Yeah, very fucking similar. To the point where I was like, "Is this the same? Is this the creator of Bleach? Do you know that? Is it?"
I have no idea.
Okay, I don't know either. It might be. I don't know
Yeah, that's possible.
because he's working on something, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I should look that up. Why don't you keep talking and I will look that up.
Well, yeah, so all I really cared for was the combat. The plot is what it is, you know. That covers my likes. I'll jump into my dislikes here. So Andy gains a superpower suit which can regenerate, which makes sense for his ability. You know, he's always getting cut into pieces. It would make sense for him having a suit that could grow back. And he gets one, and then for some reason when he's fighting, like, his limbs will grow back, but the suit doesn't bother. So I really don't understand how that works, because it's like, it'll regenerate all the time. But then it doesn't. What's the point in the suit?
I looked up the Bleach creator. He did not create this show. It was he created a show. I thought it was this one, Burn the Witch.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
I don't even know if that has a show yet, like an anime. I don't know if it's just like a manga for now.
I have no idea.
Okay, whatever. Sorry, I'm interrupting. So that means that other guy is a thief. He stole that Grimjow design. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Or he didn't. Whatever. Who cares?
Or he did.
Yeah. Yeah. Or he did. He's going to jail. Yeah.
And then only one other little thing to add here is the it was a little too intimate, a little too handsy on.
Is it fan servicey?
Well, I mean, he's feeling her up all the fucking time.
At least they made her 18.
Yeah,
They didn't have to do that
to
for
their
Japan.
credit.
Yeah. So she's like an old woman in Japanese.
Yeah,
in anime.
she's a cougar.
In anime age, yeah, right, yeah. She's a MILF according to anime, years.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, no, that's all I have to say about that one. But yeah, I'm neutral. I neither like or dislike it.
It's just a little too wild, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like there are fascinating bits, but I don't know. For every positive, there's a negative.
The fact that you're okay, so to translate, folks, a neutral from John
Is pretty bad.
is pretty bad. Yeah, John's neutral is anyone else's like. So for you, I got to think of this. What would be like a Rotten Tomatoes score? Like like the percentages. So if John gives something a neutral, it's probably about a 50%. Rotten score for anyone else. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
And if you don't like something, it's probably like a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems about right. Yeah. Can I move on to my next pick?
Absolutely.
All right. My next pick. It'd be so funny if you had this. The Witch and the Beast.
It's not on my list, but I watched the first episode.
So did I, John. So did I. I watched the first episode of this one, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I can tell you our opinions are probably the same.
All right, let me get into the plot. Oh, I mean, the fact that were you neutral on this one too?
Oh, not neutral. There's a reason I stopped at 1.
Ooh, okay. Wow. So this is going to be a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes. Here we go. Okay, so it starts off, we follow a tall, slick man named Ashaf, and he's like kind of like this old school looking guy, like something out of like, I don't know, like a Bram Stoker Dracula novel, like something out of like a gothic thing. And he's actually carrying a Dracula-looking coffin to go with his... He looks like someone out of a Castlevania world. There, that's a better description. And he's carrying around this giant coffin, almost like fucking Grave from Gungrave. Would you get that reference?
No.
Doesn't matter. And There's a his companion is a short, like mouthy blonde girl named Godot. So we got Ashaf and Godot. Remember those names because they're so important. It's set in an alternate time where it's modern. It's like modern era, but it's not quite modern era, but kind of is. I don't know. It's an alternate, world. Obviously, alternate future.
Yeah.
It's like I don't think it's Victorian though. I think it's post that.
Yeah.
But it's not fully developed. Like I don't think it wasn't like Neo Tokyo or people weren't walking around with fucking iPads and shit.
Yeah, it's not quite modern. It's more classic.
Yeah, it's more like classic age. But witches and magic exists in this world, okay? And they show up and they're new to like this city, and there's this giant monster that's rampaging around, and they're like, "Oh, should we intervene? Should we stop this?" And out of nowhere, a witch shows up and kills the rampaging monster. And everyone's like, "Yay, the witch saved us." I don't even remember the witch's name, but like, "Yay, thank you, witch so-and-so." And then immediately without hesitation, Godot, the blonde girl, just like turns and attacks the witch and tries to kill her. And everyone around, because like, I guess in this world, most witches are evil fucks and like they can't be trusted. So like most humans fear witches. Like they wouldn't, they don't see them as like saviors, right? But for whatever reason, this is a good witch. So Godot attacks this witch and everyone's like, "Hey, why are you attacking our savior? She's our hero of this city. What the fuck's wrong with you?" And then Godot's like, "All witches are evil. I don't trust you." And then Ashef intervenes and they like flee and teleport away.
Yeah.
Cut to Godot and Ashef later return. And they go to like the witch's mansion that's like within the town, where it's revealed, bum bum bum, the witch really is evil. Ooh.
Oh no, who could have predicted that?
Yeah, what a twist. And she's like, the witches, they find her like mid ritual, and she's conducting like some fucked up ritual where there's like, she has like 10 or 12 like naked virgins.
She's like sacrificing them for like keys or some shit.
Yeah, she's sacrificing. Yeah, it's the most convoluted fucking thing you'll ever. It's like she's conducting a ritual where she's got naked like young girls that are virgins, and they're like in pits or something, and then they turn into keys to open a gate or some shit, and like I don't know what the fuck's happening, and like it's horrendous. The girls like they're like they bleed out their eyes and shit.
Like eyes, nose, ears, all that shit.
Yeah, it's like turns into it's just a horror scene. It's like some kind of berserk. But Ashef and Godot interrupt her, and what follows is a bunch of shit that I couldn't even begin to explain. But let me summarize it for you. Are you ready? Here we go. Okay, the witch starts shooting energy beams at them. Godot reveals that she like pulls down her shirt, and we see this scar, like this mark on her neck, and she reveals that she's cursed before rushing at the witch, but the witch conjures a spike out of the ground and it impales Godot. Then Godot kisses the witch, and suddenly energy drains out of the witch and into the giant coffin that Ashaf was carrying. Then the coffin opens and a giant hulking creature steps out that looks like a hybrid of Frankenstein and like a werewolf. It looks like something out of like a Darkstalkers. Remember Darkstalkers?
Yeah.
It looks like a character out of Darkstalkers. It then proceeds to kill the witch with a single punch to the gut. Cut to after the events, and the witch is dead, and Godot is now bandaged up and alive in her normal body because the creature that came out of the coffin was actually Godot, but like in her mind was in the creature. And she's frustrated because kissing the witch didn't permanently break her curse. What the fuck is happening? Like, what is happening?
My favorite part was the whole like justification of like stealing the kiss. It's like, there are two methods to break a curse from a witch. get her to reverse the curse or kill the witch. But there's a third way where you can temporarily delay the curse by stealing a kiss from another witch.
Kiss a witch?
What the fuck is that?
What is happening? You're right, because like while this shit's happening, the Ashoff like jackass is sitting there like, actually, there are several things to do with the dibba the rules of the, and he's like narrating this for the audience, but it's so fucking convoluted. It's just a wall of like, it's just, if this were typed out, it would just be a wall of text. You know what I mean? It's just pure, solid, nonstop drivel is what he's saying. Of just like, it's just verbal diarrhea.
Yeah.
We are being cursed with this shitty anime. It's crap. It's so convoluted. I didn't know what the fuck was happening. It tries so hard to be like slick and cool and like actiony and like, oh, look at this badass fucking witch, and she's like conjuring spikes and shit, and like now they're like, now the guy the blonde girl is like in this big like creature and she's like fucking her up, and I'm like, it just tries so hard to be like slick and cool, but like the pacing is just like breakneck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like rushing to this fight. It doesn't give a fuck about anything. It's like character motivations, we have no idea. Characters, I don't know anything about the characters. Who the fuck cares? Just run at each other and fight. Get to that fucking fight. Gotta throw energy at each other. Give us some terms. Throw terms around. Like, it at no point just pauses, takes a breath, you know, like builds the world. No, not interested in any of that shit. What do I got here? Just a bunch of nonsensical shit happening without any grounding or context. Doesn't bother establishing anything. And that's literally it. It just
that's a lie. It established that she's cursed.
Yeah, it's like it just throws you into the fucking deep end, but it's so it really feels like the one you just talked about.
Yeah.
Because Undead Unluck's the same fucking thing. It's like a break. That at least pauses a little bit at the beginning, but the last like 10 minutes of that first episode where it's that big fight and it's just like all this shit's happening and you just get terms thrown around. You don't really know. It's a little too much.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like animes that rush to get to like the cool shit, the quote unquote cool shit. It's like, I'd rather you had an episode building up to a single punch than an episode of nonstop punching. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because then the impact's so much more, you know, when there's weight to it. But you just have characters like jumping around and shooting beams at each other. And speaking of animation, it's very basic animation. It was kind of ugly looking. I thought the color scheme was...
Yeah, it was kind of brown.
It was like brownish, like I don't know. It was like a pale hue. It was very... I didn't like the look of it.
It depressed me as much as watching the anime.
I thought it was very ugly looking. It's not very colorful. It was very like dreary looking.
Yeah.
I think they were going for like a gothic look, but I think it just makes it look ugly. Yeah. Fuck this anime. I'm not recommending it at all. The Witch and the Beast. Have anything else here to mention? No, I got nothing else to say. Fuck this anime. That's it. That's all
I agree with you.
Back to you, Johnny. I'm glad we agree. I would have been concerned if you were like, yeah, I'm up to episode 10.
Well, you know what? I'll give it a second watch. I'll get back to you.
At what point was it enough for you?
I didn't even make it like 10 minutes. I was sitting there and I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? Like, maybe it'll get better. I finished that first episode and I shut it the fuck off. Like,
yeah, because it's just things happening. Like, it's just nonstop.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like a cacophony of noise and explosions, and it's just like it's too much.
Yeah, and then the fight was fucking lame too. It's like spike through the chest,
because you don't know what's
steal a
happening.
kiss,
You don't know what's
one
going
punch.
on. You don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Like that's what I mean. There's no weight to anything. It's paced wrong. It's like it was written by a fucking teenager, where it's just like, yeah, and then this cool thing happens, and then this cool thing happens, and then this cool thing. It's like, that's not how you write things.
Yeah.
Okay, dude, like, you need to learn to properly pace and build your world, and then you can slow roll us, and then you can build up to these big epic battles. Don't start with the epic battle. It's like that first fight felt like what could have been the last fight of any other anime, you know? It's just, but there's no weight to anything.
Yeah.
So it's just a bunch of things happening. I don't know what's going on. It was so convoluted too. And it tries to shove so much lore down your throat in the first fucking episode.
Yeah.
It's just throwing terms and things at you. Yeah.
I mean, you know it's bad if the real hero feels like the credits.
Yeah. John didn't like this. So it is dog shit, folks. Dog shit.
I broke my rule. I got a 3-episode rule for anime. I didn't even make it past 1.
I didn't know you had a 3. I think, you did kind of mention this to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And that's a good rule.
I try to go 3, but this one, I could not do it.
No, it sucks. This podcast is sponsored by the fine folks at Fly By Night Movies, Games, and Toys. Fly By Night Movies, Games, and Toys is your one-stop shop for everything cool and collectible. We are located in the heart of downtown Oshawa. That is Oshawa, Ontario, Canada. If you're looking for movies, video games, and toys, check us out. We are worth the drive. Shit for the birds, folks. Moving on. Johnny, what's your next pick here?
Next up, I have... That was that one. The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic.
Here we go, folks.
Are you surprised?
Is this another fucking fantasy?
It's an isekai.
And it's a fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you fuck.
It was the season of fantasy. What do you want me to do?
I was. Please, Japan, come up with some other genre for the love of Christ. I don't know. Whatever. Go ahead.
All right. So, Usato is not a hero.
Of course not.
He is but a side character. Walking home from school one day, he happens upon the popular kids who lend him an umbrella because it's raining. They're walking home together. He finds out, hey, you know what? These guys are actually pretty down to earth. They're kind of cool. And they pause for a moment in the middle of their conversation. And the popular kids, Suzune and Kazuki, go, did you hear that bell? Usato did not hear the bell. And this magic circle appears, and the 3 of them are transported to another world.
I hate you.
Love you too. It is then revealed that they're looking for a hero to defeat the Demon King.
I hate you. I'm so sick of fucking Demon Kings. If I have to watch one more fucking show about a motherfucking Demon King, why is it always the Demon King?
I don't know.
Demon King. Demon King. I don't remember ever hearing this in actual fantasy lore. It was always like an evil wizard or, I don't know, some evil... It was usually an evil, like a warlock or something.
Yeah.
But now in animes... Demon King, the demon god, the demon ruler, the dark one. Fuck you. You stop writing these. You're creating these.
I just dream big, you know?
Oh, fucking Demon King. Again.
So they're summoned to this other world to defeat the Demon King, where the king of the kingdom reveals that... they summon heroes from another world, and the warning for these heroes is the sound of church bells. And Usato reveals, I didn't hear those bells. And they go, oh no, you were transported here by mistake. You aren't a hero. We'll keep you safe until it's time for all of you to be sent back to your world. So they're all taken to check their magic. Lo and behold, Kazuki and Suzune have the most rare of magics. Like, the most powerful. Light and lightning. And Usato has the gift of healing.
I swear to God, I've heard you say this exact description so many fucking times.
I will break you.
You're not far off. It's the same fucking description. He just happened to have... It's literally solo leveling. It's what we just fucking talked about. He's like, oh, he happens to have this god tier ability that nobody else has, and he instantly turns OP.
Well, it's not instant.
Yeah. There's like a good 5 or 6 episodes.
But Rose, the leader of like the healing squad, the medical team, if you will, realizes that he has healing magic, and the king tries to save him from her. But she's very quick in kidnapping him. She then proceeds to train him in the art of
Love making.
self-harm.
Oh. Self-pleasure. I'm trying to make what you're saying more interesting. I'm trying to interject.
No, but she essentially has him train in body breaking methods. She has him...
Body break. Remember Body Break?
No.
Oh, god damn it. That's that age gap between us.
Yep.
For anyone that got that reference, please put a like and comment in the bottom of the video.
So,
So whatever. Sorry, whatever. Body break is a very deep cut to it. It was a '90s PSA that used to play during like kids programming, and specifically in Canada. Yeah.
actually, no, that's kind of starting to sound a bit familiar.
Yeah, it was Hal Johnson and Joanne McLeod, and they were like these fitness people, and they would give kids lessons on eating, like healthy eating habits and exercise and fitness. It was meant to be it was a very positive thing, and they were very good people. They're still to this day actually like motivational speakers and things. And they do. It's
good. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do. Hey, for like a minute, I got to escape to another world where Hal Johnson and Joanne
you got
McLeod.
isekai.
Right, exactly. But to the body break world where my ability is fitness, and they've never had. You know what? As I'm saying this could be an anime. Literally, what I'm saying right now. Yeah, I didn't. Fitness was never existed in the dungeon. Like, exactly what I'm just saying.
Dude, you're quoting Mashal.
Literally, yeah, that's kind of similar. But I'm talking like, okay, there's this character, and they're like, they're huge into fitness in the real world, and they specifically like a certain category of fitness, which is like 80s aerobic videos, which is obviously something they don't do in fantasy worlds. They don't have gyms and things like that. So he establishes the first gym in a fantasy world. You would watch it. You would fucking watch it. I built a gym in the fantasy world. There you go.
So, similar. Ring Fit Adventure.
Yes. Very similar. Yes. Where you're dressed like Wii Fit Trainer, but you're running through like a fantasy world. Yes. They made the video game. I want the anime. All right, continue.
So, he gets kidnapped by the head of the medical squad, the medical unit. And she has him train in like brutal methods. Like she has him jog for entire days, like 24-hour periods at a time. And when his body finally caves and collapses, she heals him so he can run longer. And then she takes it further with push-ups. And when his arms are about to break under the weight of his body, she heals him. Until the point, until the point that he can heal himself. And then he'll be doing push-ups with like boulders on his back. And as his body's about to give out, he heals himself to the point that they both have insane physical strength because of the wrong way of using healing magic.
Kind of sounds like they're a bit overpowered.
Just a little bit, yeah. It's almost like the medical unit might actually serve an integral role in taking out the Demon King's army.
Keep going.
No, that's basically the plot.
Okay, and moving on to my next pick here. No, go ahead. All right, what do you got? What did you like? What didn't you like? So from what I'm hearing is these people get teleported to a Juba Juba world, and in the Juba Juba world, they have the ability to heal.
He does.
Okay. And which is and now he uses it to a broken level, basically.
Yes.
Because he uses it in a way no one thought to do, which is like, if I train to the point of exhaustion, then heal myself, it can infinitely train, basically.
Yeah.
He can infinitely grind. Do they have levels?
No.
Oh, there's
no levels, no inventory, no menu screens.
No menu screens, yeah. That's another thing that's a big gripe now I have is like that we have these fucking fantasy animes, but it's not an isekai, but they have status screens.
Yeah.
It's like, why do you have menu screens? You're not in a fucking video game. But it's like, at what point so it seems like at some point the Japanese just decided like, no, fantasies only exist in video games. Like if it's a fantasy world, it's also a video game fantasy world. Like those are the same thing. There is nothing else. Yeah.
No, he trains like Goku, except instead of sensu beans, he heals himself. It's genius. It's never been done before.
Get to your fucking points.
No. But I like the way that they make the healing mage not suck. I mean, typically you think healing, you think just support.
Yeah, it's an interesting twist. It's taking the support character and making them like turning them more into an aggressor character.
Yeah.
It's taking. I get the idea. It's taking what would normally be a useless ability, not useless, but would normally not be an A tier ability, but it's actually an A tier ability when used creatively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, pretty cool, in my opinion. Not yours. My opinion.
Right.
But we don't see much of the heroes. And so in the beginning, he makes this point. Like that whole bit about him being a side character, that was all him. Like his whole beginning narration is, I'm a side character. I'll never be a hero. And then he goes to this world as a side character and ends up becoming stronger than the heroes. That's kind of... It feels like a flaw to me. Because like the whole point of this like magic ritual of the kingdom was to summon heroes to this world that can save them. But I mean, compared to his healing magic, the heroes are fucking useless. But I mean, this is it. There's not much more to
If you're
this.
expecting more interjection, folks, I'm stepping back because I'm like, I don't want to just keep throwing shots at John. So I'm like, I'll let him talk for a bit here.
But yeah, no, that's all there is to this anime. Interesting training.
Do you have anything else to say about it?
No, not really. No,
How's the animation itself? Or is it just kind of
average?
generic? Yeah, okay. I feel like the anime industry has just gotten to a point where it's like,
It's copy and paste.
yeah, right. It's like they have a program and it makes the anime look like this. They can consistently produce this level of animation.
Yeah.
And pretty much like 90% of the studios, they're good with this. And this is pretty good. It's not bad, but it's not that. It's not Akira. It's not Evangelion. It's not Cowboy Bebop. But that's the industry.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, if they were all A tier, none of them would be A tier.
Right. It's like they're all B tier. It's like even the A tiers are kind of B tier. So
Yeah.
like there's not a lot of A tiers left. And then there's a fuckload of C tiers too, where it's like, because there's like, all the studios can consistently make this level of animation and it's like the B tier. But then there's also the studios that's like they can consistently make this level of animation. It's like the C tier where it's like hardly any frames of animation.
And then they're the ones that shoot themselves in the foot because they have like gorgeous animation. They dull it down with like that shitty like chibi style animation every now and then.
When I'm talking about like C tier, I'm talking about like the studios that just heavily rely on like CG shots, you know?
Like Onimusha.
Well, that's entirely CG, yeah.
Was that like D tier?
I wasn't even on the list, buddy. They couldn't. That was E rank. It was the weakest hunter. That's what Onimusha is.
Well, maybe it can start solo leveling.
Yeah, it's E rank. Yeah. Anything else to say about generic isekai anime?
No, that's all I got.
I don't even remember what it was called.
The wrong way to use healing magic.
They always have these long fucking titles too.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, I started a gym in a fucking in a fantasy world. If that's not a fucking anime next season, I'm gonna freak. I bet you.
Dude, I started reading that last year.
Yeah, fuck you. Okay, here's my next pick. You probably had not heard of this one. Metallic Rouge.
It was on my list. I haven't watched it.
Oh, you have heard of it. This one, the colorful Android one.
Yep.
All right, basic plot. In the future, humanity has this is way off into the future. It's a breath of fresh air. For the love of Christ, it's science fiction.
But in a sense, isn't that also a fantasy?
Fuck you. There's no dwarfs, there's no mana, there's no magic, there's no healing, there's no isekai bullshit, there's no I was transported to a faraway world, to a land where monsters ruled. There's none of that shit. It's just straight up grounded science fiction. It's hardcore sci-fi. It's very cyberpunk-esque, and it's kind of got that cyberpunk aesthetic. So at this point, humanity has actually colonized other planets in our solar system outside of Earth. The main plot takes place on Mars, where humans we coexist with it's a race of androids. Do you know what I mean when I say android?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's like these humanoid-looking robots that have like insane levels of AI, and they don't look like us. They look like like you can very clearly tell it's like, okay, that's a robot, but personality-wise, they're like, next level. They could literally pass off as human if they didn't look like what they look like. They are known as Neans, like Neans, Neans, and they coexist with humans, but they're actually second-class citizens. They're like, they're basically our servants. Like they're like the worker grunts. Like they work for humanity. They're not equal citizens. So they don't have the same, like they basically have no rights or any of that shit. They exist in this society to serve man.
Oh, it's like robot slavery.
Yeah, it's like the world of iRobot. Like, you ever seen the movie iRobot? Yep. Yeah, same kind of thing. It's like they exist just to help us, right? They're our aides. And hard-coded into all of these Neans is the Isaac Asimov rules of robotics. Laws of robotics. You ever heard of this?
No.
So Isaac Asimov was like really old school science fiction writer, and he famously wrote the 3 laws of robotics. I don't know them off the top of my head, but it's basically like Law 1, robots will obey all humans. Law 2, a robot cannot harm a human. Law 3, something about like a robot cannot perform Law 1 if it contradicts Law 2. So it's basically like they can't hurt humans. They can't act against a human. So it's like by their action, they cannot harm humans, but they have to do what we say, except for if that would contradict Law 2. So you can't tell a robot, hey, kill that guy. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the robot itself can't be like, I'm going to fuck you up, John, for watching all this shitty anime. They can't do that. I wish they could, but they can't. We're not there yet. We're getting there.
Those robots wrote the anime.
Yeah, the AI. So that's hard-coded into all of them. So that's why they can't like rise up or any shit like that.
Yeah.
So our main character is Rouge Red Star. Yes, that's her actual name, Rouge Red Star. Have you ever heard? What a fucking anime name that is, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rouge Red Star. And she is an android, and she has a human partner named Naomi, and they are working for the government on Mars to track down and destroy a terrorist group known as the Immortal Nine. And the Immortal Nine are a group of Neans that were actually like they're prototype models. So they're early versions of the androids before the laws of the Asimov laws were hard-coded in. So they can actually hurt and kill humans, which makes them extremely dangerous, obviously, because they could destabilize like society, essentially. So the government sees them as a huge threat. So they send out these 2 people, the android girl, who is also she also doesn't have the Asimov laws hard-coded into her. So she also can it gives her more freedom, basically.
Yeah.
But she's acting as an agent of the government, and she is like a human, handler, I guess you want to call her, like that watches over, gives her more direct orders. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The 9, along with Rouge, they're capable of they can change their form. So they look like androids. They look like us, but then they look like robot people, but then they can turn into what's called gladiators. So their form suddenly changes, and then they basically turn into battle mechs. They look like. Do you remember what the mechs from Evangelion look like?
Yep.
So they look like that, but small. So it's like
So like human-sized, like
a bit bigger. So it's like they would be like 7 feet tall, maybe 8 feet tall, not fucking. I don't know how 100 feet tall they were in Evangelion. They were huge, but they look kind of like that. They're very angular. They're very like hard angles and hard lines and like colorful. I think like the first episode we see like a purple and green one, and the other one's like red. It's very colorful and flashy. That's the basic premise. A big problem with the show is in the second episode they lay out. There's so much lore that, like, I just complained. It's like, oh, they don't give you enough backstory. Or sorry, I just complained. Like, I don't like shows that they dump too much on you in the first episode. In the second episode, they explain a lot more of what you're seeing, which maybe is the proper way of doing it. I don't know. It felt like it was kind of in the wrong spot, though. I don't know. There's a right way and a wrong way of doing it, and when you just know, when you know.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, okay, that was paced properly. It feels kind of like at the beginning of the second episode, it's like, oh, we're just going to give you this huge exposition dump, and it's a little obnoxious. It's a little like, oh, this and then this and this and this and this. So it turns out, literally, all this is like the first 5 minutes of the second episode. There, years ago, aliens from outside our galaxy showed up. And they were friendly. It was a friendly race. And humans referred to them as visitors. Okay? Then, years later, another alien race showed up, but they were like hostile and tried to wipe humans out.
Yeah.
And they're known as usurpers.
And I'm assuming like the humans were just naive by the second visit.
No, we immediately went to war with them. So there was like this giant intergalactic war between humanity and the usurpers, this alien race. And part of how humans won the war, I think the war is technically still going. Like, I don't know that it's like finished, but I guess like we won enough that we're, safe for the time being. And the big deciding factor was actually the Neans. So the Neans were created for combat originally. Like, that was their function. So they were like weapons, but now that the war is over, or seemingly over, we basically now just have turned them into our servants. Like,
Yeah, okay, why not?
Yeah, like our worker drones is like that was their reward for like winning us the war. And I guess that's a big theme in the show is like the abuse and exploitation of machines. That's the big theme in the show. Is like the robots are so human-like that you feel bad for them, that they're being like, I don't want to use the word enslaved, but used the way they are. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll say this. It is a gorgeous show. So it's done by Studio Bones. I don't know if you know that studio. You've probably heard the name
sounds
before.
Familiar, yeah.
I don't know their resume off the top of my head. I always mix up Madhouse, Studio Bones, and MAPPA. They're one of the big three in my book, other than like Ghibli. Bones is like one of the top tier guys right now. So we were just saying like all the studios do this level. They do that level. So they go to the next step. It is a very, very good looking show. They do a great job of capturing like the cyberpunk, like cyber noir aesthetic. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
It's like the dark sci-fi future. Where it looks really good visually. It's very like the aesthetic's really nice to look at. There's like a lot of high contrast and like bright neon lights, and it's very inviting. Like, I love that future tech cyberpunk, like Neo City look.
Yeah.
I just love that aesthetic. Like, every time I see it, I just go, oh, I want to go to there. Like, it makes me want to, envious. I want to live in that world,
Honestly, I feel like everybody's got like a bit of a sweet spot for like cyberpunk-esque.
Yeah, because it's cool.
Yeah.
It's so neat. Everybody wants to live in flying cars and neon signs everywhere, and it's constantly raining and overcast.
Yeah.
Everybody where we all just live inside these like little micro homes in 200-story buildings where we play hologram video games. Like, make it happen, please. Hurry up with the VR tech. I want to be here. I'll leave John. He can be a cook in his fucking fantasy VR game. I'll be in my cyberpunk VR game, you know, joining up with the main character in Cyberpunk Edge Runners. 10 points if you can get his name.
David?
Oh, you got it. Good job. I'll be hanging out with David and crew. What was the chick's name? Lucy?
Yeah.
I think.
I'm pretty sure it was Lucy.
Oh, man, I love Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Oh, it's fucking fantastic.
So this is no Cyberpunk Edge Runners. So it has a... I'm not even faulting the show for like... here's what worked for me. The lore works for me. The whole thing about like, oh, there was this giant war that happened years ago. And like when they're explaining this, the main characters are like, they're on like a bus driving past like old relics, like old like warships that are all like rusted out. It's like it has the kind of the Star Wars aesthetic. I can't remember what they call that. It's like used or retro sci-fi or retro science fiction or used. There's a term that George Lucas came up with. It's basically just like, it feels like a lived in science fiction world where it's like, yeah, it's in the future, but there's also been years of the future. You know, it's not like all this tech is brand new. It's like, no, there was we had spaceships centuries ago. So it's now, we're now at the point that we've got like old, big, hulking, rusted out spaceships and like giant laser beam guns that are now rusting and collecting dust. Like the world building part works for me a lot. What doesn't work for me is the main characters kind of suck. They're kind of boring.
Yeah.
I don't know. The android girl, it's like, it's Rouge and Naomi. That's her human handler. I don't know. They're just kind of bland. I don't really dig their motivation. It's like they're just pawns of the government. And then, they add, like, I watched the first 3 episodes, and it's like, there's a little bit something there where, like, Rouge is, like, questioning what, should she be doing this? Is the government right? Or the Neans? Like, they have a point, obviously, because they're trying to, like, free androids from servitude. I just feel like I wish I had a different story set in this world. Because the world is interesting. The aesthetic is gorgeous. I just don't like these protagonists, and I don't like this story. The idea of like, there's these super androids that can turn into battle mechs, and now it's kind of a battle mech anime. Doesn't do it for me. Yeah, like, you want a better version of this? Watch Bubblegum Crisis. It's 1,000,000 times better than this show. Have you watched it yet?
I have not.
I'm gonna lend it to you. It is phenomenal. It's a way better version of this, and like that show is a cyberpunk where it is a battle mech anime, but it's just done better. It's a better version of it. That one's kind of like almost like a Super Sentai show. It's kind of like Power Rangers.
Yeah.
It's humans that go into mechs. They pilot the mechs.
Yeah.
But their mech suits are like the size of a human body. But there's also androids in it. Bubblegum Crisis is so much better than this. But it's a lot of people are jerking off about this show. I think it's going to end up being highly overrated. I think a lot of it is like, well, it looks so good, so it's got to be good. No, the story's kind of whatever. I don't know. It doesn't hook me.
Do they at least have like cool fight scenes or some shit?
Yeah, even the fight I thought was kind of like, my problem was as soon as they turned into their gladiator form, I was like, oh, fuck off. It's like, what is this, Transformers? It's like, I'm actually this. And I mean, also like from a physics standpoint, makes absolutely no sense. It's like, how does a robot turn into a bigger robot? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the androids look like us. There are proportions, but then they are able to turn into these gladiator versions, which are like 2 feet taller and like they're wider. And basically, they're a completely different machine. It's like, okay, I mean, I guess the future, sure, we have tech that can expand. I don't know. It's a little stupid.
Yeah.
That's not really, from a physics standpoint, possible. You can't really just like completely change the structure of your robotic body and move. And like, yeah, I don't know. It's just whatever.
Maybe the insides are just hollow.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's just, didn't hook me. I really wanted to like it. It's cool, really cool. Again, talking about cool names. Metallic Rouge. Cool name. Rouge Red Star. Not a cool name.
Now,
Stupid anime name.
that kind of feels like a reference to Dragon Ball a little bit.
Metallic Rouge?
No. Rouge Red Star.
Like
The RR. She's an android for the Red Ribbon Army. Yeah.
Fuck the Red Ribbon Army. That's Dragon Ball crap, man.
Uh,
Dragon
whoa,
Ball
whoa.
Z or
It's-
nothing.
It's all three, man. What do you mean?
What? She's
Android 18 literally has the RR on her back.
Oh, I'm aware she's from the Red Ribbon Army.
See, that's...
I
And
know
then
what
they
you're
bring it
talking
back
about.
for superheroes.
Yeah, that's super. It's Z or nothing, okay? Your next entry, please, sir. How many you got left? I only got one left. You ain't gonna get it. My next one, Metallic Rouge is the one I thought you were gonna have that one.
I have 3.
Fuck me. Here we go. This is the 2-hour Johnny special. Let's have at it.
All right, well, I hope you're ready for this one.
I swear to fuck if it's another fantasy. It can't be. It is?
The weakest tamer began a journey to pick up trash.
How? These are all new from you're not cheating. These are
No.
from the winter.
I was watching the episodes as they released.
Oh my God. Japan. Fuck you. Start being more creative. Christ. It's like, it's a weird thing in anime where it's like somebody does one that works and then everybody goes, yeah, that. When did the animation industry, when did the anime industry become as creatively bankrupt as fucking Hollywood? Christ.
Yeah.
Because it's like the same shit. It's like they're just copying what, it's like one is a hit, so then everybody's got to do that.
Yeah. And they copy the formula, add a couple zeros.
No, but seriously, it's like there was hardly any sci-fi. There was hardly any just slice of life animes about I don't know, interesting things. Like, where are the slice of life animes about I don't know, this character likes playing checkers and he goes to the park and meets a group of checkers players, or there's a guy that takes up painting, fucking Blue Period.
fantastic.
Where was that shit this season? Fuck this season.
I may have one that'll appeal to you in a bit.
Oh, okay. All right.
Actually, I think... No, that's a lie. This isn't even my last fantasy pick.
Go ahead.
All right, so anyway, the weakest tamer began a journey to pick up trash. So we follow Ivy, an 8-year-old boy, formerly known as Femicia, an 8-year-old girl who was banished from her village for being a starless tamer. Because in this world, when you reach a certain age, you gain abilities, in her case, a tamer. And you basically touch this orb at the church, and it reveals your ranking, which is 1 through 3 stars, 3 being the most powerful. They don't have menus, I promise.
Are you listening to what he is saying? You touch a thing and then it reveals your rank. You literally just fucking said this in Solo Leveling.
Well, I mean, technically you said that.
You fuck. Keep going, you smart ass.
So when it's revealed that she has no stars...
No, but you agree with me. It's like, they're just copying.
It's all copy and paste.
It's copy
yeah.
and paste.
It's like, I mean, nobody
Christ.
has original ideas anymore. It's like they take the same anime, repeat it, but they change a couple episodes.
They changed that one thing. Whatever that gimmick is, that's what they changed.
Yeah.
My joke about I started a gym and I guarantee that gets made at some point.
Oh, literally. Yeah.
That's the gimmick. It's what is the most I'm a vending machine in the fantasy world.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking mime in the fantasy world. It's like ad libs.
Yeah.
Anime is now ad libs. It's we already have the structure of the show. We just need to insert the nouns, the things, I start off as a blank nerd. I teleport into a blank dungeon. My skill is blank. I am good at scrapbooking. There you go. It's a scrapbooking anime, but it's in the dungeon world. There you go. Fuck. Fantasy scrapbooking. Wait for it. Stay tuned. It's on Crunchyroll next fucking season. I taught the Demon King how to scrapbook. Fuck. I hate that I'm right. That's the thing is I know that as dumb as I am saying, it is that dumb.
Yeah.
Like they're at that point of just ad-libs anime era, folks. This is the great. It's never been a better time to be an anime fan. Oh,
Well, it's perfect for when you run out of episodes of the anime you were watching because you can just pick up the one that is a carbon copy of the anime you were just watching.
yeah, just
right?
pretend you were just watching that one, right?
This
You never
is the
even
same
know.
anime, season 2.
Basically, yeah, right.
But anyway, so she's banished from her village, and they want her dead. So she takes on the identity of an 8-year-old boy. And there was a nun who cared for her while she was hiding in a cave. And she tells her, like, you know what? One of these days, you're going to find someone that will accept you. And when that day comes, tell them everything. Tell them all your secrets, your abilities, your ranking, all that shit. Your end goal should be to get to this place, like this town across the country or whatever. But if you happen to find a place you would be willing to settle down and live, then stop there. There's no need to continue your journey. So the whole point of her quest is to find a place she belongs, she's accepted. So she sets out and she meets all these awesome people who know nothing about her aside from being an 8-year-old boy. And they love how she, like, captures animals and she, like, prepares them, basically. Like, she's basically famous in every butcher shop in every kingdom she visits because of how well this 8-year-old is preparing meat. And nobody knows she's a tamer because she keeps that a secret as well. But she happens upon this rare slime. I know. Yeah, it's a
She just happens. She's the only one. It's never happened before.
it's called the disintegrating slime.
right.
And their lifespan is like half a day. And she manages to tame it because, as it gets revealed later, even a 1-star taming mage has too much magic power and it kills the slime trying to tame this fucking thing. So because she is so weak, she is able to tame this thing. And then she travels with this disintegrating slime, feeding it potions.
I thought, I was gonna say it's in a lifespan like half a day. So how does she keep it alive?
So typically what it is like a strong breeze can blow them apart,
Right.
but she carries it in her bag.
Right.
It's like a magic bag with larger inventory.
Sure.
It's bigger on the inside.
Yeah, it's like a pocket world. I
Yeah.
get it. Yep.
So she carries him in that, and then she feeds him potions. And as we come to find out, he can actually use the effects of these potions. So, like, she starts out trying to, like, reserve these potions because she's like, what if I get injured? I need to heal myself. And then she gets, like, a fatal injury. This slime climbs on top of her, and she's like, oh, great, now he's going to eat me. I'm done. But she wakes up completely healed because by the effects of the potions being fed to this slime, it now has the ability to heal.
So whatever you feed it, it can replicate. It's kind of like a ditto.
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, the slime's also very fussy, so like it only likes red potions, and then eventually it gets a little stronger, and then it likes blue potions too, or it'll eat green potions or whatever the fuck.
What the hell does this thing look like? Does it look like a ditto?
No, it's literally just like a blue ball. Like a
It
typical
doesn't have like
slime
eye.
ball.
Doesn't have like googly eyes or anything.
I don't recall it having eyes, no.
What is the anime called? I'll look it up. I want to see what this googly
The
eye-
weakest tamer began a journey to pick up trash. Actually, it might have eyes. I don't.
I'm gonna
I
look
don't
this
recall.
up.
But yeah, there's not really much to it. She just goes on her quest to discover her new life. But, and this is a part you're gonna love because it's relevant, but it's not relevant, is it's technically an isekai. She wasn't really born into another world, but she has memories of her past life, which communicates to her like telepathically. So
it's got like, it's just, sorry to interject, it's like typical, it's got eyes and a face. It's like a typical looking slime, yeah. It's got like, it can emote.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. For those that don't know what a slime looks like, yeah.
But so she has memories of her past life, and her past self communicates with her through thought. So like she'll see something, she'll be talking to someone, and out of nowhere, she'll have this memory from her past life. Like she teaches people how to make fireworks. And they're just astonished by this like 8-year-old girl that has all these incredible abilities, this incredible
mind. Was that a Freudian
mind.
slip there, John?
It was, yeah.
You wish she was 18?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Easy. Simmer. Simmer.
Sorry, I just need a minute to recover from that one.
I'm keeping this in.
Technically, she's a boy, so...
Oh, is it actually a boy?
Well, no, it's a girl, but she's telling everyone she's a boy to hide her identity.
Oh.
But
she could be a trans character. Or no, that's deliberate.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
No, she reveals her secret to some people. But, some people figure it out on their own. But she travels to all these different towns. She meets all these cool people, has these strange adventures with, like, human traffickers. Yeah.
Okay.
She almost falls victim. But
this isn't an isekai, right? She's not from another world.
Yes, but no. She remembers her past life. Her past life communicates with her in her head. But like we don't actually see her die in her former life and come to this world.
No, that's what I'm saying. So she has connections to a version of like modern society?
Yeah.
Oh, she does. Oh, so it is an isekai. Oh,
yeah.
You fuck. God damn it.
You're welcome.
Nah.
But I thought it was a unique.
It was a unique. That's the word.
A unique.
It was a unique. It was.
I combined unique and take.
Yeah, this is a rake anime. A rake anime, folks.
No, it was a unique take on an isekai, in my opinion. Sure. I may be wrong. I haven't seen them all, surprisingly.
I'll say this. That still there makes this anime look gorgeous. Is this a gorgeous anime, or is that just a cherry-picked image?
It's pretty.
It is a pretty show.
It's not mid-tier, but it's not really top tier.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like it's in the middle there.
Okay. All right.
So like it has its moments,
some pretty
but
shots,
it doesn't like dilute it with shitty animation. So
okay. Yeah, all right.
To its credit.
Fair enough, yeah.
But I mean it's pretty fascinating, the adventures that this child goes on trying to avoid her village, and like half the people along her journey are like communicating with each other, like, oh, like this is very clearly a girl because she told us this is the village she came from, and there's no history of a boy leaving. Goes, so whatever this child has been through, there's definitely a reason she's lying to us, and I feel bad for her.
What is her goal?
To find a place she belongs.
Oh, okay. So this is a very like kind of slice of life anime. Yeah. Okay. Lower stakes. Lower stakes. Which not always a bad thing, folks. Sometimes you just want to vibe with the show and chill with the show. I mean, I don't mind lower stakes, honestly.
It's got a nice charm to it.
It feels, based on what I'm seeing here, it feels very like happy, joyful show.
More or less, yeah.
More optimistic,
I mean, she makes more friends than enemies.
Yeah.
She's got a lot of people watching her back. But, yeah, there's not really much more to say about it.
I want to gush about, because I just went on a huge rant about, like, fantasy shows. I want to gush about Freean again for a second. Freean, that's how you do a fantasy show right.
Yeah.
Take the fucking formula, throw it in the trash, and just make your own fucking formula. And then world build, make us give a shit about the characters, and don't go for gimmicks. Frian doesn't really have a gimmick. Like, not really. I guess the gimmick is that the main character is an immortal being. That's kind of a gimmick, but not really. I mean, she's not really immortal anyway. She'll
die eventually.
Eventually, yeah. So, like, no, Frian fucking rules. You still watching Frian?
I haven't started it yet, but I intend to.
Oh, you haven't even started it?
No.
I thought we both watched that last season.
No.
I was. Oh, that's right. It was my recommendation.
It made it to my list, but I hadn't gotten around to watching
dude,
it.
Frian is so fucking good.
But I did watch an anime or two that you ripped on, and shocker, I enjoyed them.
What? You fuck.
My Happy Marriage?
Oh, so bad.
I enjoyed it.
Ah, no. Go to your next pick, you fuck.
All right, let's see.
What do you got next?
The Unwanted Undead Adventurer.
You're just literally, we're playing ad libs here, folks. This is insane. Listen to what you just fucking said. Say that title again.
The Unwanted Undead Adventurer.
Right. Undead and Adventurer. What was the other show you just talked about before? Unluck Undead?
Oh, that one, yeah.
We're just playing fucking ad libs with these titles. It's like you're making it up. It's like dungeon, world, thing. It's ad libs, folks. It's fucking ad libs.
I'm a little offended that you just compared those two anime.
Why? 'Cause
One of these is far superior to the other.
And it's Frian. It's not on your list. All right, what's this one about?
All right, so this one, Rent, is a bronze class adventurer
What
with
is it called
dreams.
again? Bronze. Fuck! Another ranking system. Fuck! Your goal was to break me down.
And it's working.
Yeah. That's 7 fantasy. Wait, you had 7 picks. 6 of them are fantasies? Because only one wasn't.
Let's see.
Yeah, because 2 of mine were fantasies.
Yeah,
Soul leveling is an isekai-esque.
Yeah.
It's fantasy.
Yeah, all but one.
6 out of the 7. You fuck,
It
John.
was the season of the fantasy.
God damn it. I know it was. That's why I didn't fucking watch anything. Literally. So I had nothing to fucking watch. All right. What is this called?
Unwanted Undead Adventurer. So Rent is a bronze class adventurer with dreams of becoming mithril class. However, we start following his journey, and he is exploring a portion of the dungeon that is yet undiscovered, despite everyone believing the dungeon had been completely explored. There was like a wall that had broken open, and in it was a tunnel, which he went to explore and encounters a dragon. And unfortunately for Rent...
For Rent? His name is Rent?
Yeah.
R-E-N-T?
Well, I mean, in the sub, it was Lento, but I'm not going to put on that fake fucking accent to say his name. You know?
Rento.
But yeah, it's spelled rent, but with like 2 T's.
Sure.
It's worth it. Trust me. That extra T adds value.
It doesn't.
So he gets eaten by this fucking dragon. And then he wakes up in the exact room that he was standing in with the dragon. But the dragon is gone. And he looks in the water in front of him. And he's a skeleton. Now he can't leave the dungeon. His dreams of being an adventurer are smashed. And he doesn't know what he's going to do with his life. So he starts exploring.
So he starts a podcast with his friend Justin.
To ensure many sleepless nights.
Right, exactly. Where he can talk about all of his fantasy adventures.
So while he's exploring this like dungeon labyrinth, they call them.
Can I just complain for a second?
Well, I mean, I haven't been able to stop you this whole episode.
And I'm not complaining about what you're talking about. Why? Because like we're talking about copy and paste. Why is everything in a fantasy about dungeons?
Yeah.
Do you notice this?
Well, to their credit, I'm calling it a dungeon, but they call it a labyrinth, which is completely different. Not the same at all.
No, right. You're being sarcastic, but you know what I mean, though? Like, is that... Do you notice that? It's like, that it seems to be the central theme. It's like, not only is it in a fantasy world, but it's all about exploring a dungeon. Like, you do realize you can do stories above ground, and you don't have to go into a cavern to tell the plot.
He goes above ground at some point.
You know what I mean? Like, the one you just talked about, you didn't even use the D word.
Yeah, because there aren't any.
That's what I'm talking about. It's like not everything has to be we go into a dungeon.
Yeah.
Gotta fight the demon lord, gotta fight the demon king. Like,
Well, I mean, that's not his goal.
anyways, sorry, continue. Labyrinths.
So while exploring this labyrinth, he encounters other monsters which are hostile toward him despite his like monster appearance.
Status.
So he kills them naturally, because luckily he's still able to use his magic and whatnot, which was very low tier. And he absorbs their souls. And eventually, he evolves into a ghoul. So he discovers that by killing monsters and absorbing them, he can evolve into stronger, more humanoid monsters. And his goal is to become human enough that he can go above ground and return to his life. And he encounters another adventurer who is set out to look for him. And as a ghoul, he goes to talk to her because he's been practicing human speech, which is atrocious in his ghoul body. But he manages to spit out that he is formerly an adventurer by the name of Rent. He was killed and came back as this monster. She doesn't quite trust him, but she does lend him some help in escaping the labyrinth. She gets him a mask and some clothes to hide his body and helps him sneak back into the city. And from there, he joins the Adventurer Guild under a fake name. And by fake name, I mean his name with a different last name. I don't remember what his original last name was.
Rento Smith. Oh.
It could have been.
Yeah, like something stupid.
So it was like Rent Smith, but now he goes by Rent VV.
Right.
And despite him trying to hide the fact that he's the same person, everyone fucking figures it out.
Okay. What is the tone of this? Is this supposed to be a comedy?
Not really. I mean, like, the humor's mild.
Okay.
You know? It's a little more serious. But, I don't know. Sometimes you can't help but laugh at it.
It sounds comedic.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. But it's not. It's like.
Like, it has its moments.
Okay.
But it's mostly serious. But he discovers, like, by evolving, he can take on a more humanoid form, right? Or humanoid, rather. And he can sort of steer his evolution as he sees fit. But in his monster body, he's also far stronger than he ever was as a human. Meaning his dream of becoming a mithril class adventurer is feasible. Sorry, I lost my thought for a sec. But
It's all right. I haven't been following it anyway, so I don't know what.
Great.
Yeah.
things are looking up.
Yeah.
But
I know where you left off. A guy. No, go ahead.
But his ultimate goal now is to become a vampire because he's essentially given up all hope of becoming human.
That's like the last in the chain of undead. Like
It's
in
the most
evolutionary-
human, yeah.
Okay. But it's like the last in the evolutionary chain.
Not necessarily, because they like reveal that nobody really knows much about vampires because the stronger they are, the less they're seen. So, in theory, there could be a vampire that's completely human. But we don't know. So his whole adventure now is getting strong enough to not only become a vampire, but he wants to become mithril class, which he later reveals is because there was a monster that slaughters his entire family. And a mithril class adventurer saves only him. But he went toe-to-toe with the monster, but doesn't kill it because he himself isn't strong enough either. So him and the monster fight to a stalemate, and then they just go their separate ways. It's kind of redundant. But, yeah, that's all there is to the plot.
How many episodes is that?
12.
And how many episodes? Is that the whole thing?
Yeah,
And how many episodes did you watch?
12.
So you really liked it?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, of the fantasy anime, that was one of the better one.
Oh, okay, that one ranks higher than some of the other ones. How does it rank compared to like Soul Leveling?
I'd put it beneath Solo Leveling.
Okay. What about that Tamer one?
I'd probably put Tamer above it too.
What about the Healer one?
I'd probably put it above Healer.
Okay. Oh, above Healer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it beat
So
one.
It's like 3. You know.
It's okay. Yeah.
It's mid tier.
It sounds very generico. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
But
I mean, like, I found it kind of cool that they reincarnated him as a monster in his own world.
it's like an isekai within an isekai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that was almost unique, you know? I mean, and they don't really focus much on the labyrinths either. Like, a lot of it's above ground. So, like, he visits them occasionally, but I think in total it's maybe like 2-3 episodes are spent, like, within dungeons or labyrinths, whatever the fuck you call them.
Okay.
But, like, a good, like, 90% of the anime is above ground fighting, like, human struggles. Like, surprisingly, a lot of his enemies are human. But, yeah, the only real gripe I had with the show is they make him seem so smart. But he's a terrible fucking liar. I mean, who goes to change their identity and uses the same fucking name?
Same first name, yeah. And then everyone just figures it out anyways.
It's like, oh, I'm not John. I'm John.
I'm not John with an H. I'm John without an H. Totally unrelated.
It's like just shaves off the mustache and just
right.
So well, what's the fucking point?
Right.
I mean, like, the combat was average. The animation wasn't really anything special.
Average, yeah.
I mean, it was mid-tier.
Right.
And that's all I have to say about it.
Thank the gods. Can I give you my last pick?
Nope.
All right, back to you again. No.
Wait, is your last pick a fantasy anime?
Oh, for the love of Christ, no, it isn't. My last one's kind of a cheat.
Okay.
It's not really an anime, but fuck you, I don't care. You're listening to it because it's like a Japanese production, anyways. Pokemon Concierge.
I've seen it.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was really good.
It was really charming.
It was very charming. That's the word. It was very charming. I can summarize the plot in like 2 seconds. So, in case you don't know, this is a production done by the Pokemon Group or whatever they call themselves.
Pokemon Company.
Thank you, the Pokemon Company. And they brought in it's actually a French animation studio that helped do this. The plot, there's not much of one. It follows a young girl named Haru, and she's like, I believe she's Japanese.
I think so.
Yeah, but whatever. It's a young girl, and she's flustered with her stressful work life she lives. She's overworked. She's stressed. She's unhappy, and she needs a change of scenery. She's like basically on the cusp of like a nervous breakdown, and which, to the credit of the show, it's like these are pretty adult like themes and topics in like, you know, a Pokemon show.
Yeah.
It's like that's pretty good character depth, you know, that they're giving you there. It's not like surface level shit like, I received a letter from my uncle to go visit him at the Pokemon Island. It's like they didn't do anything shit like that. It's like, no, it's like a young woman struggling with like adulthood basically, and then she just needs a break from that and wants to try something else. Like that's, I don't know, that's got some maturity to it, which I appreciate. So she takes a job working at a Pokemon resort, which is called Mr. Mime's Magical Moon Paradise. What are you laughing at?
I totally forgot the name of the resort.
I just told you, it's Mr. Mime's Magical Moon Resort. It's basically a resort for Pokemon. So it's not actually for the trainers, it's for the Pokemon themselves. And it's on like this little island that's kind of like a tropical type island, kind of like like a Hawaiian type, like Aloha region of Japan, of Pokemon, like in that realm. And it's this beautiful, picturesque, you know, like resort for Pokemon. and she takes a job working there, and that's really the plot of the show, is like her working at this resort, and every episode is kind of the same basic formula. It's like it focuses on a specific Pokemon guest. So it's like a guest of the resort that Haru is trying to help. So I don't remember. There's like one episode is like she's trying to help like a Magikarp. One episode she's trying to help a Psyduck. It's like every episode it focuses on a specific Pokemon and she's trying to help it. It's a very low stakes show. It's a very slice of life show. You basically just get to just chill and vibe with the show. It's very charming. It's very cute. It's very adorable. And part of the big reason it is so like adorable and cute is the animation is perfect.
Yeah.
So it uses a stop motion animation, which you very rarely see anymore, other than like big productions, like shit that like, Leica Studios.
I love Leica Studios.
That's like it's that level of quality though. It is at the level of a Leica Studios production.
Yeah.
It does kind of like it's stop motion, but it's very like felt stop motion, which I think it's got a real neat feel to it. Everything kind of looks like it feels kind of furry.
Yeah.
Like it's not really like claymation per se, but it's all that same level of Leica Studios, so shit like Coraline, like it's up Paranorman. It is that level of quality for sure. So it definitely was very difficult to produce. It was done by Dwarf Animation Studios, which is a French production animation company. Sure, for whatever reason, the Pokemon company contracted them to do it, commissioned their work, but they nailed it. The aesthetic of this show is so good. It is just so, it's like brimming with color and character. Like it's so charming when you see how all the way they animate the Pokemon. This aesthetic works so well for the world of Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like when she gets off, she shows up at the resort for the first time and like she gets greeted by the Bulbasaur and you see like the Wingulls are flying above and you're just like, oh my God, this is it's such a cool look. It was such a cool choice. You know? Like that's the bold choice. Like we're going to go over the stop motion, like, okay, sure.
But it was a good choice.
Oh, it was a very great, it works so well with the aesthetic. Yeah. And there are some CG elements, but like, it's so minor. It works fine. Like, and they never stand out hugely,
If I were to point out one flaw with Pokemon Concierge,
You shut your mouth.
it would be that it's too fucking short. I want more of it.
Okay, literally. What does that fucking say? Read that note. Where is it? Right there. What does that note say?
Only 4 episodes. I want more.
I want more! Exclamation mark.
But, like, I was having trouble sleeping one night, and I put it on and watched the entirety of it, and then fell asleep.
And that's it. And there's never any more Pokemon Concierge. So that's the problem with the show is it's not a show. It's like a web series.
Yeah.
So it's on Netflix. There's 4 episodes, and every episode is only 15 minutes.
Yeah.
The last episode is like I got excited because the last episode they made so far. I'm assuming this isn't the full first season. This is like part 1 or part A or some shit. But like at least I'm hoping. The first episode or the last episode, episode 4, I saw like 30 minutes and I got excited because all the other episodes were like 20 minutes. But when you take out the outro and the intro and the credits, it's like you're left with like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I got so excited. It's still like a 15-minute. There's like 10 minutes of credits. I was like, oh, come on. So it is so fucking short. It almost feels like a fan film.
Yeah.
Like there's just not enough meat on the bone. Like for the love of Christ, could they not have worked on this for another year and come up with at least like 8 episodes? And each episode is like 25 minutes, like, close to half an hour.
Yeah.
Like the episode, it just feels like a web series. It feels incomplete. And exactly, I wanted more of the show. I love the concept. It's got a nice chill vibe. It's like, it is just a show. Relax, enjoy the colorful, cute, adorable animation, enjoy the visuals, and The plot is it's simple enough that every episode can be its own unique thing, you know?
Yeah.
There's not really a big, I guess the overarching plot is Haru finding her identity as a young woman.
Yeah, and her like growth in like 2 episodes was awesome. Like
Going
from being like so stressed and like analytical about how the resort is to being just relaxed and spending time
enjoy
with
the
Pokemon.
ride, baby. Enjoy the ride. Yeah, literally from episode 1 to episode 4, she's a completely different person.
Yeah.
By episode 4, she has bought into the resort way of life and is all about laid back and enjoy things and let's not stress about the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a fantastic little show.
In that last
Is it an
episode?
anime? No, I don't know if it's an anime or it's not. I count it.
I call it an
to
anime.
me, it's just
I mean,
using a different-
Pokemon's anime, right?
Yeah, well, it's a different animation style, so to me it counts. It's a Japanese production, but fuck you, it's cute. It's great. Watch it. Pokemon Concierge.
That fucking last episode with the Pikachu, though, right there.
Yes.
I felt it.
Yes. The sound effects are really good too in this.
Yeah.
You notice that? Like
there was nothing wrong with that show.
No, there's it has like no flaws where it's like everything every noise you want the Pokemon to sound like, they sound like it. It's adorable. Yeah. It's a fucking adorable. I mean, and again, it works for like kids would love this show and adults can enjoy it too because the main protagonists are adults. Yeah, they're like the hosts, right?
Yeah.
Like whatever they're called. I don't know what they're like Haru. Like what are they actually called? The resort workers. I thought they had a term. Nians. They're ohms and they can control they also have Pokemon abilities. You melted my brain today, John. Pokemon Concierge. Watch it. It's great. Your last pick.
All right, one.
And you said it's not fantasy.
I take it back. It's a fantasy.
You fucking
Could you imagine?
Is this the one you think I might like?
Okay, so I take that back. I don't think you would because you've pointed out something which I'm going to mention shortly because it's something I dislike.
Go for it.
That a former a conversation we had on a previous episode about like animation stuff that I'll get into shortly. But anyway, A Sign of Affection.
I nearly watched this. This was on my list. And I didn't watch it. That's so fucking funny because it was the only thing where I'm like, it's not a sequel. It's not a fucking fantasy show. I'm like, it's a slice of life. Love. I like lovey-dovey shit. I know I'm a pussy. Whatever. It had all the beats where I was like, I think I would like this. I just didn't get around to it for whatever fucking reason.
Yeah.
I had too much of the shit to watch. I killed myself because I had to do the fucking huge marathon podcast with Kevin, the Simpsons episode. So I was prepping for that. And then Mark and I have a giant fucking Slash Cinemas podcast coming up. So I ran out of time. So please tell me about it.
So essentially we follow Yuki, who is just a typical student struggling because she's deaf. So she has unique struggles with like college life. It's like she's got to get notes from her classmates. Like she literally brings people into class with her to take notes so she can like follow along with class. Because, I mean, she can kind of read lips. But I mean, of course, if like the professor were to turn around and look at the board, she can't hear what the fuck they're saying. And it means nothing to her. She runs around with hearing aids, which she states doesn't really do much for her. It just kind of like helps filter the noise. She doesn't really hear anything. She feels vibrations. So it kind of evens it out so it doesn't like drive her mad. But she's on the bus one day, or bus or train. I can't remember which, but someone comes up to ask her for like directions on how to get somewhere. And they ask her, she can't communicate. She's like trying to like use hand signs to communicate with this person. And then a young man steps in, Itsuomi. And he goes, oh, did you need help with something? And he helps this guy figure out where he wants to go. And then he looks at her when he goes to speak with her. Obviously, she can't talk. And she throws up a couple little signs for him because she thought that he realized like she's deaf and maybe he knows sign. and he sees the hand signs, and he's like, "Oh, like, well, I'm glad I could help. Like, if you need anything, like, find me." And she develops a crush on this guy. It's like, for some reason, he's like overly handsy.
So wait.
So like
A guy needed directions,
Yes.
but she's deaf, so she was giving him sign language, but the guy didn't understand. The first guy didn't understand that she was doing sign language?
he got the signs, but he didn't know what the hell she was trying to say.
But he understood, like, oh, you're doing sign language.
Yeah.
But the other guy, what's his name?
Itsuomi.
Itsuomi doesn't understand sign language?
No.
So why was he interjecting then?
He stepped in to help the guy. He's overly friendly.
Oh, he
is what
stepped
it is.
in. He gave the guy directions.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought he stepped in to be like, I can understand her, and then
He saw like a struggling girl, and he helped with the guy.
So he did do a gentlemanly,
Yeah.
chivalrous act. Yeah.
But he seems like overly handsy. Like he puts his hand on her head, rather.
That's a very bold thing.
Right? Like, especially with like a deaf person, Like,
yeah.
But
Hey, let's try that, John. Let's film it. Let's go out into public and we'll find attractive women and we'll put our hands on their head.
genius.
Yeah, let's see how that
work.
goes. Yeah, dude, new TikTok video. We're gonna hit millions. It's gonna be a trend. It's gonna catch on. We'll call it the what's this anime called?
A sign of affection.
The sign of affection challenge. Touch a random girl's head and see how she reacts. Women fucking hate when you fuck their hair up too.
Yeah.
And they also don't like when you touch their face. So, yeah. Anyways, it worked for this dude though.
Yeah. So it turns out he's like one of her upperclassmen. So they go to the same college. And she starts like noticing him more around school and finding out more about him. A couple of her friends are like, "Oh, like, Itsu? Like, he's really cool. Like, he speaks like 3 or 4 different languages. Like, friends with everybody. Really friendly guy. Super popular. And he travels a lot." So she insists her friend introduce them. So they go to like this bar where he works and his cousin like owns the bar or whatever. And they slowly start like getting to know each other better. He offers to walk her home, and then she asks for his number. They communicate through text messages while they're beside each other because he still doesn't know sign language. But he starts learning for her.
Oh, I just got it. A sign of affection, like sign language. Oh.
So it's just this like really...
Titles, folks. Titles.
Yeah.
They matter.
It's this really sweet story about their love blossoming.
This sounds so much like a silent voice.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, you've never seen a silent voice?
No.
Then you know what I'm talking about.
I've heard of it.
Oh, it's like one of the biggest like anime films of the last like fucking decade. You've heard of Your Name, right?
Yes.
This is like, did you watch Your Name?
I have not.
Oh, well, fuck, dude, you gotta get on these. They're good.
Dude, I've only got time for fantasy anime.
Yeah, you've only got time for you. Stop watching that shit and then watch this art, okay?
As soon as they re-release it for the spring season, I'll watch it.
Yeah, but no, there. A silent voice it follows a deaf girl, who was basically in elementary school. She was tormented by this bully, and then fast forward, and she's like in high school. And the bully gets transferred to her school, but the bully is a completely different guy now. Because turns out what ended up happening was the entire school isolated the bully and basically just ignored him so that it made him like an introvert, and he completely changed his personality. It like humbled him. So he became a completely different person. So then when they get introduced to each other, she meets a completely different like guy.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He's like not the same type. He's like shy and awkward. But when he was like a kid, he was like this like rambunctious little shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. You would love it. It's very good. Yeah. Highly recommend A Silent Voice.
All right.
So it sounds very similar. It's like a guy bonding with a deaf girl and then learning to communicate with one another.
Yeah.
Same kind of idea. Yeah. But that's the show. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much, yeah.
So what was the bone you had to pick with it, though? Because you're like,
Okay,
something
so-
I brought up or something.
The animation is fucking gorgeous. Like, they do this amazing thing with, like, the eyes. Like,
Okay.
killer. But
It's racist.
remember... Yeah. Yes, it's very
but it's an
racist. So,
extremely racist anime.
they like to do this thing where they hit you with this, like, stunning animation. It's like a good, like, minute and a half of, like, this masterpiece. And then they fucking dilute it and go to this terrible, low-quality animation where the characters don't even have fucking noses. Their eyes are just plain, like, circles with pupils.
Oh, you mean like the chibi bullshit?
Honestly, I think it's worse than the chibi bullshit.
Okay.
But, like...
But is it to punctuate comedic moments? Is that the idea?
Yeah,
It's like
but
when
no,
they
it's
make
like,
those faces of like, and it's like, you know,
It's like...
it's like a still image.
It almost feels like a constant. Because it's like when they're doing, like, I don't know, something that could be considered slightly romantic or, like, there's a sweet moment, they do this animation that's beautiful. And then, like, everything else kind of feels, like, diluted. They'll just be having a conversation. And it's like, boom, your noses are gone. Like, why? Like, why not stick with that animation? Like, I could understand if it, like, came down to a matter of budget, but I'd rather you, like,
Gotta be
water down the
consistent.
whole...
I'm
just
so
it's
confused.
consistent.
Why do they go to the cheap animation?
I have no idea.
no, but when does it happen?
Just constantly. It's like the most random moments.
Huh. So it's just
It's like
inconsistent.
occasionally there's like a comedic spot where like you could understand it. But for the most part, they just do it to, and I don't know, like save money or something. Like they got rid of the
like
noses.
this.
Yeah. Like, why?
So what you're saying is they constantly interject these scenes where they're just not detailed character models.
Yeah. And then like they'll go from like this shit
Like this.
to that. It's like, why?
Because fuck you, John. That's
Literally,
why.
that's what it feels like.
This is to save money. I
It's
mean,
like-
why else? Yeah, because they're two different fucking studios.
You know
probably.
what doesn't do this? It's fantasy anime.
Fuck you. Yeah, you're right. It's just consistently bad.
But at least they're consistent.
Right, that's true. You know what doesn't do this? A silent voice. Watch that movie. It's fucking
Okay,
a
I'll do that.
masterpiece. Yeah, it's really good.
No, but apparently the manga, it's like all consistently one art style. So I might switch to that because I fucking love the story.
I didn't know you were into romance type things. This
Well,
is a
the thing is,
revelation
like-
to me. Where is this coming from?
So I'm open to all anime, right? And like I've never really been opposed to romance, but
Yeah.
I've never really stumbled across
Like,
anything.
you've never talked about slice of life animes or anything.
Yeah.
Unless
So-
it's like, you know, a guy slice of life. He's also slicing goblins or some shit, you know? Like,
No, but I've never been opposed to it. I happened across it. And,
breaking hearts and breaking curses.
I didn't watch it alone,
Yeah, you're watching it with the missus. I get
Yeah.
it, but
but
this is a snuggle.
I looked forward to this.
This is a snuggle
no,
anime.
There was no time for snuggling. I was hooked on this
You're
story,
like,
man.
yeah. Your girlfriend's trying to like snuggle you. You're just like, yeah, whatever. Get the fuck off me.
It's like, fuck off. I've got subtitles to read,
Right.
okay?
Yeah, exactly. She's like, quit distracting
like-
me. Just go in the other room, okay? I'll tell you when it's done.
I loved every second of this.
How many episodes is this?
12.
Did you watch the whole thing?
I did.
Fuck.
Dude, it was good.
I'll give it a shot.
It like, Itsu does this thing, and I fucking love it. Like,
I have a gripe already though.
go on.
They don't look human.
Yeah.
Well, people don't have blue and pink hair.
So his hair is dyed. He does have brown hair.
Okay.
And she's supposed to be a redhead.
Yeah, it's an anime redhead, which is
Yes.
pink. Yeah, I get it. And it's like anime hair color is always, you know,
It's something.
it's not. It's yeah, I know. I just don't like that character choice.
Yeah.
because it's
But,
like just make them look more normal.
His
for
hair
what-
is like white or blue or whatever because he has a hairstylist friend that he lets experiment on him.
Sure, whatever. I know.
But
At least they put in the one line. It's not just like
Yeah.
humans have blue hair in this world.
Yeah. But what was it? He Itsu does this thing and it always makes me feel stuff. Where like anytime he asks her to do anything, like say he was asking her to get a coffee or something, he goes, "Would you like to get coffee?" or would you not? Something about that sentence made me feel stuff.
Would you like to get coffee or would you not?
Yes.
What do you? I don't know. I'm trying to think why that's so romantic.
I don't know.
Just
But it makes me feel things. It hit me in places a man should never hit me. Okay.
or would you? Or would you not? I mean, it's equivalent of just being like, would you like coffee or not?
Yeah. But it's like everything. It's like, would you like to go back to my place? Or would you not?
In other words, like,
Would you like to go see a movie? Or would you not?
so the idea is like he's a complete gentleman.
I think it's the tone of voice, honestly.
Is the show that they're just dating?
Yeah, more or less. I mean, it doesn't take long for them to like start a relationship.
But like that's the plot.
Yeah.
But they don't do like we don't have to wait 12 episodes for them to kiss, do we?
No, God, no.
This isn't My Dress Up Darling, where by the end of the first season, like they still haven't done anything. It's not that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think
Did you watch that?
I did not.
You can admit it if you did.
I did not.
Okay. I don't believe you. I feel like you watched at least the first episode.
No.
Nah, I don't know, folks. I don't
even know what
believe
the
him.
show's about.
Okay, that's bullshit.
I know the name.
You at least know the premise.
No.
Oh, okay, whatever. Lies tonight, folks. This is the theme of this week's of this podcast. Lies and deceit and deception and fantasy. Anything else you want to add about Sign of Affection?
Oh, I love it.
Like we can trust a thing you say. Yeah. So is this like your number one?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, like,
Because that's where we're at now. So, do you have anything else to add?
no.
Okay.
No, I can gush about that animation all night.
So
But,
let's. What did we decide? How are we doing this again? It was
top and runner up, and then bottom.
okay. I'll go first. My top, Pokemon Concierge, and it's a cheat. It's like a web series, but I don't care. I enjoyed it the most out of everything I watched this season. If I had to pick a runner up, my runner up would be Delicious in Dungeon. It's good. They both have a similar feel. It's just like a low stakes, chill, like positive vibe show. And we need that right now. We need more like positive vibe slice of life shows, honestly. If it's not perfect though, it needs tweaking. I can't pick Soul Leveling just because I know where it's going.
Yeah.
And it's going to a place that I don't want it to. So I know it's unfair because I'm judging it based on knowledge I have that you wouldn't have at this point. But and my bottom is going to be that garbage Witch and the Beast show. Like fuck right off.
Shocker.
Yeah, garbage. John, what is your top pick for winter 2024?
Top, I'm going Sign of Affection, 100%.
Wow.
Now, runner up. Let's see. Honestly, I kind of feel like cheating. I want to say Pokemon Concierge because I watched it. It's not on my list. Like,
no, it wasn't on your list. Fuck you.
all right.
You pick from the list. You don't get to cheat and use mine. No, you have to pick. You gotta pick one of those fucking fantasy shows.
the weakest Tamer began a journey to pick up trash.
You taking that over Delicious in Dungeon?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. Cool.
Well, I mean, like it was charming.
Yeah. All right. That's fine. Yeah, that's valid.
And plus, it didn't make me hungry. So.
And your
the
bottom, your least.
You may be able to guess.
Is it the same as me?
Undead Unluck.
Oh, not Witch and the
that
Beast.
one's not technically on my list.
That wasn't on your list. I thought we both had that. Yeah, no.
But I mean, I would put that below Undead Unluck.
Yeah. Wow. Undead Unluck. So there you have it, folks. Top and bottoms. This was one of the worst seasons for anime I've seen in a while. I'm serious. I'm actually serious. Nothing really I thought stood out big time. A lot of meh shows and a lot of shit I just didn't want to watch. And I'm glad. I honestly, after listening to some of it, I'm glad I didn't watch it because I wouldn't have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know, I thought it was a really weak season overall.
I mean, I'm inclined to agree with you.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of neat new shows.
Yeah.
You know, and this is becoming a bad trend. I don't know, like, do you know, like, because you're more in touch with like current anime trends. Are certain seasons weaker than others? Is that a thing where it's like the winter season's usually the weaker season, summer's the big one? Like, is that a thing? Or is it
I'm not
random?
so sure because I feel like it's kind of random.
That's what I thought.
It's just
too.
like luck of the draw.
That's what I thought too. Because anime is kind of unique in that it's like the production, because the production schedules are so weird, you can kind of get a masterpiece anime at any time of the year. It seems like.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just get unlucky with what came out at that time, and it seems like, to me, it felt like a lot of derivative crap came out of the winter 2024. Especially, I don't really remember all of my picks from the fall block. I've already forgotten, but I there was a lot better shit I had to recommend. I think I recommended Freean. That was a really good
Pluto.
show. Pluto, yes. Like, probably, we didn't do this, and maybe we'll do this year. We didn't do our top picks for the year of 2023. Maybe we should this year do a recap episode. There we go. We're already trying to come up with ways to do more podcasts. Maybe we should do a top and bottom of the year for this year.
Okay.
And that's kind of a neat idea. We do a recap of like, okay, total, the year's over. What were your top 5 and your bottom 5? Or maybe even top 3, bottom 3. Keep it smaller. You know, it's just a quick little thing, you know, like a 15-minute stop motion podcast. But yeah, both those animes were like contenders for top anime of the fucking year, and they were in the same season. You know, this one, it's like, if Pokemon Concierge had been a full season order, it would be a high recommendation. But as it stands right now, it's like a web series. It's like a concept for a show, you know? It's like, it's not fully fleshed out.
Yeah.
Needs more. Make more. Hurry it up. You fucks. All right, I think we're good. Yeah, anything else you want to add, John?
No, I think that's all I've got.
All right, that's it, folks. Thank you for tuning in, for watching or listening to another episode of AnimEH. We will return. When are we returning? We will return at the end of June. At the end of June, yeah, because we're now gonna start watching our spring anime picks. I haven't even made my list yet.
I already have like 8 names.
Of course you do. How many of those are fantasy?
Let's find out. I got the list right here.
Never mind. I don't care. It's going to depress me more. Thank you again, and we will see you in a couple months. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening. Bye for now.
It's 5.
I almost made it out of here. All right, let's get out of here.